everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hey guys, how y'all doing? How y'all doing tonight? Hey, I've got something to say. Yeah, I haven't watched it. We're going to do this the same way that I had to do the Dateline one, where I'm going to watch it and I'm going to tell you guys what I'm seeing, what's going on. Yeah, so that they can't copyright anything cray-cray. Because whenever we were going over the hearing, after the hearing, when they had some information from the Associated Press, like even though the Associated Press was told like certain things had to be, you know, everyone had to be able to use them, they still copyright struck a portion of the hearing. And I'm pretty sure that it was the portion where Maddie's parents had their lawyer come out, or Maddie's mom had their lawyer come out and make a statement, and we had to hop all kinds of feeds to get something that actually sounded like something. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I just cut it out because whatever, I'm not going to even argue with them. I saw what you're talking about. I've got something to say. Well, I know that it exists. I haven't watched the whole thing. It's actually something I was going to record myself watching, because I've seen people try to say that like it works out and all these things, but they're doing it with stuff that we don't have proof is true. We have no proof that he parked in a certain spot. We have no proof that any of that is real because we didn't get to the facts. And up until just now, like they didn't have any of that directional stuff when it came to parking the car and all this sort of bullshit. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what's going on with that. I'm already a member in here, but how to sign up again to join this chat. What's up? YouTube does stupid crap. I don't know. YouTube does all kind of crazy stuff. Yeah, I'm going to check it out. We're probably going to do a live, probably maybe not tomorrow, but maybe Monday, where we go in and look at all of like the new pieces of information that are out there, even though we have nothing official, nothing's come out. And I've checked I've checked for documents again, and the only thing they did was put another factual written basis out that doesn't have everybody else's and they mama's signatures on it, but it still has June crossed out with July on it, which is interesting. So yeah, I don't know. But I do want to remind people actually before we even get started that today is Xana's birthday. They're not doing anything today though. They're doing something tomorrow at Vantage Point Brewery. They're going to be having some sort of celebration happening between 4 and 7 p.m. If you're local, y'all can go and hang out over there. This is what I'm going to be watching, but I'm going to be watching it like this so that you guys can't see it, because again, I don't want any of their issues. Now I will say I was listening to a few minutes of Drunk Turkey have this Alina girl or whatever over there. It's interesting how much she's plugging herself for all of the books and all the things that she's like associated with. Because I really thought this was about talking about the case, but I guess it really turned into the Alina show. Hey there, Dawn. How you doing? Yeah, see, yeah. For some reason, it just does that. I don't know why it does that. Because even to members, it'll take them out of rotation. And I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like it sees you're a member. I don't know why it does that. Hey, Jackie. How you doing? How you doing? Hey, RPJ. Hey, Gina. Hey, your favorite uncle. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Melinda. Hey, Vivian. Hey, Envy. Hey, Slam. Wonders Deep. Cats Gallery. How you doing? Hey, Hollyberry. I'm sorry. I will never believe that Bryan did this. I mean, look, if he comes out and gives us details that make sense, and it's not just yes, 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 and sure, then, I mean, I am not against the fact that we've been wrong. I've been wrong the whole time. But when literally nothing else was learned, when they stood there and they read the PCA after telling us that it was outdated, irrelevant, and no longer important, how am I supposed to take that seriously? I can't take that seriously. I need more information. Hey there, Bella. Hey, Ginger. Hey, Brutally Honest. Hey, Julie. Hey, Corinne. Yeah, I know a lot of people like are being extra super stupid all of a sudden, which is ridiculous. I don't understand. Hey, Sweet Jules, how you doing? Hey, Small Fries. Hey, Jenna James. Hey, Miller Time. Hey, Tasha. Full of lies. Yeah, well, I mean, I've kind of figured it would be, because even now, like, there's information that's being shown on the Drunk Turkey show earlier I don't know where he got the like flight plan stuff, but they're putting their own narrative between like in the dates of stuff, which is interesting because even her, the girl that's supposed to like know all this, you know, inside information, is sitting there confused about why certain things say certain things. And I'm just like, I thought you had all this information and you were all this insider. Like, why are you so confused? But she's also trying to say that Dylan and Bethany were there. But I have issues with the story. Like, I'm not saying that I don't believe her that they were there. Okay. I have issues with the authenticity of them being there because, for one, she says that Bethany is there and sitting with the Chapins. And I have issues with that because we weren't told how close these people were, for one. For two, it was Bethany that has the exculpatory information, and Ethan and Xana's timeline is the timeline that's been like hella secretive. And both, you know, those two sets of things, Bethany and then Xana and Ethan, were all at that party, and all of their information is being kept like super secret. And now they're all like sitting together, which is odd to me. Okay. And then she says the way that Dylan is acting, I don't even really honestly believe the story of this portion of this, because drop a 1 in the chat if you noticed any sort of disturbance whenever the charges were being read. As in, did you notice that anybody suddenly started looking over in one certain direction because somebody was doing something that got people's attention? I didn't see anybody looking any sort of certain direction. And she's saying that whenever the charges were being read, that Dylan was like covering her ears and turning towards the wall and like making noises and being like, oh God, no, like she didn't want to hear stuff, like super animated. Y'all did see somebody? I didn't see nobody look nowhere. I'm going to go back in and look. I didn't see it. I sure did not see that. So I'm going to go back in and I'm going to look and see if there's a portion while the charges are being read where somebody looks over there. Because we didn't hear anybody making noises. We didn't hear anybody making any exclamations. We didn't hear or see, like, I didn't notice anybody looking that way. The middle row behind the prosecution was all looking to the left of the screen. That would have been like where Dylan probably was then. Okay, I'm going to go back in and look. I didn't notice it. I didn't hear anything, but I also find it like super hella exaggerative that she's sitting there closing her ears and turning towards the wall and all this weird stuff. Like, why are you being so damn animated for someone who doesn't have a clear memory of anything, who didn't recognize the person whenever he was arrested, that has no actual proof of ever actually seeing or hearing anything, unless you're being over super exaggerative because you want people to believe what's happening is legitimate, instead of like, you left Xana on the floor for 8 hours because you thought that she had OD'd on alcohol and didn't give a damn. Because we're just not going to let that go. I'm not going to let that part go. Yeah, I don't believe hardly any of it. If you're going to sit there and be like, oh my God, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I'm sorry, I don't believe you. It's all the damn act. All an act. Thank you for the $50, Tracy. Holy crap. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just don't believe it. I just feel like it's like extremely exaggerative and childish to sit there and do that, if that's even the case. And I just don't feel like any legitimacy towards it whatsoever. Because these two people have gotten away with not having to answer any questions, without having to answer why they were awake the entire 8 hours. Why were they taking photos? Why were they taking videos? Why were they editing said photos and videos, doing who knows what else before then deleting them? Why is there direct and indirect proof of a cleanup in that 8 hour time frame? None of that gets to be answered now. It's just beautiful. It's all so beautiful. I just don't understand how they just they don't have to answer anything. It's just so stupid. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this started so that we can get going with the information. I'll finish listening to whatever she has to say, I guess. Honestly, again, it just sounds like she's plugging herself and whatever she's going to be writing. This chick's even like, I'm going to write a book about my experience. And I'm just like, wow. So you're complaining about if Bryan's sister writes a book while you're giving her kudos because you think she called the feds, but you're mad that she wants to write a book while saying that you deserve to be able to write a book just because you are like the head of some Facebook group? They'd say that we're the bad guys. We're the bad guys. But they act like that. That's so hilarious. I just don't understand stupid. I don't understand stupid. Thank you for the $2, Jules. How are you doing tonight? I mean, it's not just us. If we don't know, that means the families don't know, because everything is still under seal and they did not get any additional information before agreeing or being okay or whatever the frick is happening here. They got no additional information. I still say to this day, what time did Xana and Ethan get home? Anybody have a freaking answer to that? I'd love to know. I'd love to know. Love to know. Now, this is on Peacock. It is called, I'll show the screen real quick so that you guys can see what it looks like. I cannot play it on the screen. I will get copywritten. I will be struck down. There will be no more Jules with True Crime Reactions. They will take the channel. You did see one? Interessante. I'm going to look and see. But I still feel like if she was doing all that crazy stuff, then it was an act. Because you can't go from not recognizing him and not even giving crap enough to like speak at the memorial and then lying to Steve Goncalves' face at the memorial and all these other things and everything that we know. It just doesn't work for me. It just really doesn't work. Thank you for joining, Sherry. Thank you for joining. Okay. I mean, look, I did actually say that. I said, damn, they know how to make a damn thumbnail. Because this goes hard. I'm not going to lie. This Idaho or whatever the frick is happening here with his face in it, this goes pretty damn hard. I ain't going to sit here and lie about it. It really does. Okay, so let me go ahead and get this started and see what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and hit watch now. Watch now. This is 1 hour and 27 minutes. Once it loads, though, does it have a way for me to, like, not have to deal with it for so long? Sounds fake. I'm sorry. It still sounds fake. Bethany in the beginning, I can fake that all day long. So it doesn't mean anything to me whenever we know that you were calling your parents at 7 something in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. You had no sleep whatsoever. And you can't tell me that Dylan didn't tell you Xana's on the ground. I don't know what's going on. Xana's on the ground. And for 8 hours, neither one of you decided to go and check on her. It's really hard for me to have sympathy, even if it is just as innocent as they're stupid as hell and don't need to be living alone because obviously they're too dumb to be able to even function. I can't have sympathy for you're admitting you thought she had too much alcohol in her system and had passed out on the ground. You're checking her snap maps. You're checking to see where her and Ethan are on snap maps. You're calling her phone. You're hearing it. Obviously, you're hearing it not get answered. And no one goes to look for 8 hours. I have a problem with that. I'm never not going to have a problem with that. Both. Half. Amber wants to know how much YouTube takes whenever I get something like a super sticker or a super chat. Half. The $50, thank you so much, Tracy. I very much appreciate it. I'm going to get $24.50 out of that $50. YouTube is going to get the rest. That's how that works. That's why I didn't have a PayPal or a Cash App or anything like that for the channel until I got asked 1,000 times to make one because of what YouTube does. They take half of it, and then whatever I get is not considered a tip yet. I don't know how it's going to do with the tax changes. But when it comes to content creators, technically PayPal, Cash App, Venmos, buy me a coffee, stuff like this, super chat, super stickers, it's technically a tip. So honestly, we shouldn't be getting taxed on that kind of stuff. We should be only getting taxed on our ad revenue as self-employment income. I have lots of tax questions in my head. You just brought all those out. But I very much appreciate you asking that question because, yeah, they do take half. Okay, so here that was Hunter saying no to the is she breathing. Okay, I'm really actually kind of confused at what they're doing here because they have like now somebody's walking into a house and there's red Solo cups on like a table and there's a bag with like a label on it next to like a plant, sort of the way that the Starbucks cup was next to a plant that was knocked over in the Jack in the Box bag and everything by this kitchen sink. But this can't be like actual house photos. Like it starts with like a good vibe sign, like in the front of the house. Who's talking? It's a group of 4 girls talking about it, and then here comes Maddie's mom and stepdad talking at the memorial. They're kind of just starting it from the beginning of like everything. Okay, so a bunch of cop cars coming down the street, but I can't tell if that's actual. Okay, now they're talking about the arrests. They're showing Bryan's graduation walk from DeSales. So okay, there's gonna be an interview where a girl says she's afraid of him, and that's why she doesn't want to be on camera. But if he's guilty and he's going to be away for life, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Okay, so now they're showing the K-bar sheath USMC. Notice that whenever they stood up and spoke, he never said, Santa did not say that this damn thing that he bought on Amazon had the logo. And by the way, I don't know where Drunk Turkey got this bit of information from, but he's saying that the Amazon gift card was found at Bryan Kohberger's apartment, which literally makes zero zip, no sense whatsoever for the actual information that came from court, where they said that the Excel spreadsheet that was given to them that has all of the Amazon information shows that there was an Amazon gift card purchased through the Amazon account because it's on the spreadsheet. And then later, that exact same gift card was then used on that exact same account to purchase this whole like sheath, knife, and sharpener thing. No one ever said ever that an Amazon gift card was found at Bryan Kohberger's apartment. This sheath and thing, this whole thing was purchased back in March. Why would he have even brought it with him if it was bought through the Amazon account, which means it was a digital card? So how is a digital card found at the apartment all those months later? That doesn't make any sense. There's not one piece of evidence that puts Bryan Kohberger definitively at King Road at the time of the murders is just what this damn thing just said, which is exactly what Thompson stood up and said. How can all these people be like, oh my God, I can't believe I was so stupid for believing this? And literally Thompson stood up while he was telling us about the pings and says, but we can't prove that in any of the times he was actually at King Road. There's all these people that live in the area. Where humans have lost so much faith in humans. But how could anybody else be responsible? I don't know, like anybody else. So this is actually interesting. I noticed this portion at the end of the preview. It's Steve Jr. and Chronicles of Olivia. I told you they were going to find eventually. They were going to be in something together, and their love story is probably going to be talked about. But in the preview for this, Steve and Olivia at the very end are saying, we just need to make sure it's the right guy. We have to make sure that it's the right guy. So is Steve Jr. still on that thought process? Are they asking more questions? Are they actually more open? I'd love to know. Right? Thank you for the $2, Jules. Yeah, found an Amazon gift card, but the trash was completely empty. Exactly. No trash, no nasty, nothing in there, all that stuff. Like, I'm sorry, you can at least make your lies make sense. Try a little harder. It can't be that hard. They're standing on like a pier looking over a lake and talking. Once trial is here, we need to know for certain they have the right guy. We want this to be the right guy. I mean, we all wanted it to be the right guy until the PCA came out and it became really, really clear there was 1,000 million questions. Drunk Turkey had all those exact same questions. He had all the same questions. He was over on panels saying this doesn't add up and this doesn't add up and this math don't math. None of that's changed. And they literally read the PCA to us again at this hearing. Like it's supposed to suddenly mean something. I don't understand it. Yeah, no shit. It is wild. Okay, now I guess it's going to start. I mean, look, every flea market my dad goes to, he buys a freaking K-bar knife. Every garage sale we go to, if he sees knives, he's looking at them, probably going to buy one. Yes, you do, Jackie. Thank you very much. That's what I don't understand, Cam, because he knows. He's known forever. This is why I have issues with Steve Goncalves. And I know that they know that I'm like right with this, because Daniel has never come out and said, oh, she's freaking lying. I never told her none of that. And Steve and them have blocked me and then unblocked me on their page, meaning somebody over there pays attention to me, because it takes multiple steps to unblock somebody. So somebody obviously pays attention to my thought process here. So I'd love to know how Steve can come out to the public and take up for Dylan and Bethany whenever he is known from the memorial at the very, very least that Dylan was lying to him. Jack Jacor heard Dylan on the phone whenever he walked down a King Road after being woken up that morning and heard her saying the story of seeing someone. We know that she also told the story as an afterthought to the people that she called over. The main focus of the call to get them over there was Xana drank too much and is on the ground and we don't know what's going on. So I'm supposed to sit here and believe that that's what Bethany is supposed to be all about in the beginning of the call. I'm sorry, you've had 8 hours. Now you want to act like you are panicking? No. So whenever the memorial happened and the letters were read, Steve asked if he could talk to Dylan and Bethany. Bethany left. She jetted. She didn't want shit to do with nothing. She wouldn't even look at him. Dylan told him straight up, no, I didn't hear or see anything. I was asleep. He knew that in there that she was freaking lying to him. So then whenever the PCA finally came out and all of a sudden, oh, the public is now finding out Dylan wasn't actually asleep. She actually did hear and see stuff. What? They lied to us? He had even more confirmation then that she had lied to his damn face, and he still comes out here and does what he does. I don't understand it. And I will continue to not understand it, because how could you behave that way? How could you know this person was more than aware? You even told Brett and Norton you knew that the messages between Dylan and Bethany said something along the lines of, sounds like they're killing them, meaning full awareness, and you now having full awareness of their full awareness, but still coming out here and protecting them. What was the point? What did it get you? Now you're just as pissed off as the majority of people with common sense and give a shit are. And we've been asking questions that you actually been asking in your mind all along that you refuse to come out and voice. For what? The university? Maybe it's about time to start asking questions. Okay, so it's showing Moscow, and I guess it's like December 5th light up stuff. So this would have been stuff they got after in order for them to be able to have stuff in this. When you're in Moscow, you like to light it up a little bit. That was funny. It's about Christmas, though. And they light the Christmas tree. But this is okay. I really wish they would just like get to the okay, Christmas that year. Okay. Yeah. Who is this talking? Wish they show the face. Okay, so all 4 of the friends are about to get on the thing. I don't know if Peacock has like a free trial thing. I've had them for like a super long time, so I don't know, but y'all might want to check and see if there's like a free trial or something like that, because a lot of these platforms let you try them for like 14 days or so. I would check it out. Tashiya says they do. Bro, tell me about it. Tell me about it. How do we have the DoorDasher come out and not even a single thing about the DoorDasher eyeballing Bryan Kohberger, literally stared me right in my eyeballs, and nothing about an eyewitness seeing him came out? He couldn't even like mention the DoorDash driver seeing him. No, because that's Santa's little helper. And he can't acknowledge that, even though it's on Brett Payne's body cam, which again, in case you missed it, has not been working for the Moscow Police Department since at least April and is now working for the University of Idaho. but that's supposed to be shh. Pathetic. Yeah. All right, I'll show y'all the friends real quick. These are the girls. No, I'm an angry elf too, bro. Just angry in general. Ruby Simpson. I mean, see, and something that a lot of people don't understand, I guess, is that you can feel sorry for a lot of people but still have a lot of questions. Like, I have questions for like the main people that are in the story itself, but when it comes to like these girls that are talking right now, there's going to be channels that try to say, oh, they're acting like they're doing this and they're acting so fake. Da, da, da. No, there were people that were really affected by this. The bullshittery only goes to a certain extent. I feel horrible for everybody who experienced these losses. It's really sad. It's super, super disgustingly sad. Ah, Peacock is free if you have Instacart. I didn't know that. I think there's something that Walmart Plus gives you too. It might be Peacock. I'm not sure. It's Peacock though. MV. See, they just said Ethan didn't live in that house, but he was there the whole time. No, he lived there. We've already gone through it. There is a speech thing happening where one of the frat guys gets up. I think it was at one of the memorials. One of the frat guys gets up on the podium and says that him and Ethan had literally just been talking about how Ethan was excited to be moving back into the frat house in like a month. So around like Christmas break time, if you do the math, he was going to be moving back into the frat house. The entire situation is that he was a repeat freshman. That the big he had at the fraternity failed because it's going to go on the big for his like academics. And that Xana was the one who was tutoring him and getting his grades back up and all these other things. So no, he was living there because he didn't have anywhere else to live. He got kicked out of the frat. So no, he was living there. It was temporary, but he was living there. He was just hanging with all of us girls. It worked out. He was living there. He was, geez, Ethan was so tall. And you know what's crazy too? This Alina chick that's over there talking to Daniel on Drunk Turkey, she's sitting there saying this shit about Bryan, that he is a small, weak, frail man with paper-thin wrists. And I'm supposed to believe that he took out Ethan and had time to carve his legs up and sit down in a chair at some point and clean up, apparently? I'm sorry. How are you going to sit here and describe the man that you're saying is guilty of doing this to 4 freaking people that are in their damn prime when it comes to the way that their bodies are built? And you're going to describe him as a small, weak, frail man with paper-thin wrists. She's literally holding up her wrist. She's like, his wrists are like a quarter size of mine. And you think that he did all this crazy shit? I'm sorry. Sorry. They were all so pretty. You can tell all their friends are so sad. Okay, now we're back at the house. Okay, so she just said when it first happened, they got a lot of texts from people confused about why there was a bunch of cop cars outside. And then comes the vandal alert, 104. She swiped it away. She gets a text saying that there's a homicide on King Road that she's at all the time, and she just, like, swipes it away. Like, even if I didn't instantly think that it was my friends, the second that I recognized the road, I'd been like, "What?" And I would have been all over the information. I would have been swiping it away. Okay. They got it wrong. Okay, well, I care about what idiot's over there saying because idiot goes over there and lies. And if you're okay with being lied to, then have fun. And yeah, he does. He worries about exactly what I say. Don't think he don't, honey. Idiot. Be okay with a liar. Lots of crap he said has been proven wrong. Her opal ring is really pretty. It's still hard for him to even talk about. Not surprising. That's hilarious. Here comes Bloom Blum whatever. He'll always be known as Bloom Blum whatever. Here comes Coffin Gagger. I can't believe they put Coffin Gagger in this. She has already flip-flopped. She's already proven to be a paid narrative. When the information came out about IDs in a glove in a box, she came out and said on one show, we did a whole series, we did a show about this. She went out on one show and was paid to say they were the IDs of the victims, that he had the victims' IDs in his parents' house and all this other bullshit. That like 2 days later, she went on another show and said there's no proof that the IDs belong to the victims. There was no connection between the victims and him found at his parents' house. She gets paid to say whatever the host wants her to say. So her being on this doesn't mean shit to me. I do. What? Is this some new evidence they matched his butt print to the scene? I mean, all I know is that somebody with blood on their body apparently sat down in the chair. There's like a bloody impression in the chair, which is crazy. Crazy to me. They're playing the 911 call, but it sounds a hell of a lot clearer. They did the exact same thing just now. When I was listening over there to the chick for a minute, she was describing how he was walking and she's like making fun of it. And I'm like, he's wearing shackles. He has to shuffle. Like you could tell by the way his shirt was on, he had something underneath his shirt and he would have had shackles on his like legs. They've always had it under his clothes. Christy Goncalves has talked about this because they have told her, even if you don't see him in an orange jumpsuit, he's got shackles and stuff on underneath his clothes. So yeah, I'm like, you gotta like, I understand if people want to say that he's guilty and they want to pretend like we suddenly learned like a plethora of new information that doesn't exist, but don't sit here and take away everything that's true. Shackled up, they talk about his responses, and I'm like, he's a freaking tistic. They've already told us this is how he is. It's like people just forget everything that's already been proven just to satisfy whatever they feel that they need to satisfy. They're okay with like throwing facts off the table. It's just stupid. When police walk into the house, nothing looks out of the ordinary, but we have a whole college student that just literally said on the Amazon series that's coming out that the second that you got there, you knew something was wrong. You could just feel it. The officers smelt the blood. That's already been a report for like ever now. So how are they going to sit here? And I swear this is Anjanette Levy's voice, which ironically, she was over there in the drunk chat earlier tonight. How are you going to sit there and say they didn't have any idea something was wrong? 8 bodies have been doing what 8 bodies do whenever they expire for 8 hours. I mean, 4 bodies have been doing that for 8 hours. Not just blood, but all of the fluids inside of the body release. Miss me with the they didn't know. This does sound like Anjanette Levy narrating this. Then the officers go to the second floor, make their way to the bedroom, and they find Xana and Ethan covered in blood. Then why was there no blood on the call? And if Xana is covered in blood now, then why is Dylan not saying she's covered in blood? It's not alcohol for 8 hours. Because the story is that it was alcohol. And that's what she told her friends to get them over there. And that was their main focus on the 911 call. It was a fleeting afterthought about the possibility of an intruder, which is the weirdest part of this whole thing. Police go up to the 3rd floor, find an empty bedroom and a dog inside. Murphy's story is going to be interesting to learn about. Across the hall, in another bedroom, officers find Maddie and Kaylee. It is Anjanette. There was no forced entry. Coughing gagger again. Nothing reported missing. No signs any of the women had been essayed, which is something that this Alina chick is mad about. She's like, how can they say that whenever we haven't even gone to trial? Well, how can you say he's guilty whenever we haven't even gone to trial? Why do you want there to be some sort of SA situation? Why do you want this to be worse than what it is? Why are you mad that there's no SA? You're a little weird, bro. Yeah, all of the red stuff dripping out of the house. Unbelievable. Like, how do you see somebody on the ground and just not care? 3 months, Michelle. Brinko Paka. I see you too. Do we know what it is? Not yet. I don't know what actual information was sent over there or what that's all about. All I know is that Dylan's obsession with eyeballs has been a big factor when it comes to Brinko Paka because of the ICU2 and the eyeball picture and all of those things. It could just be a thing. I know my daughter likes to draw eyes and lips, not just one eye with one big puffy eyebrow and like one eyeball, but eyes in general. So I don't know. It's a weird connection. But I also know, and I'm going to do a video about it soon. I actually recorded one already, but then decided to redo it because I just didn't like how it came out, about what Steve Goncalves is claiming, that Bryan is trying to say that Brinko Paka is one of the alternate suspects. This is something that was weird because they made a statement, and in the statement they had something about a fallen vet. We instantly knew who it was. And then whenever he refused to go inside the courtroom and he was talking outside of the courtroom, he literally said that this guy died, this vet died. He was going to try to blame it on the vet. Well, I was watching some comments on a post that Lucy Morningstar or Heather Fitzgerald put, and Lana from Truth and Transparency said that she knows for a fact that the guy that would have been looking at Kaylee at the store and wanting to go talk to her but didn't talk to her, the one that's in the paperwork, would have been Brinko Paka. I don't know how she would know that. And then she mentioned some guy named Justin, and I don't know who that freaking Justin guy is. Was it Justin or Jason? I think it was Justin. I don't know. But we also know there's articles talking about how there was a certain stalker situation for Kaylee that was looked into. They proved that she wasn't being stalked. But this whole portion of these two guys being at a store and one guy wanting to approach Kaylee was in all these articles back in the very, very beginning before the arrest. Around before the arrest. So that'd be kind of crazy to me if that's true. If the guy that was going to like walk up to Kaylee but then didn't walk up to Kaylee was Brinko Paka. Like, I really hope that we get answers on that one day, but I really highly doubt it unless the evidence that was like submitted when it comes to the camera footage for these stores that was submitted, unless that ever gets released. I don't know if we're ever going to see proof of that, which sucks because I really wish we had actual proof of that. Very possible. There was no confession, Milas. Saying yes to a question does not mean confession. We didn't learn anything. Nothing, no new information at all. At all. Okay, I think we're at a commercial. Oh, it skipped the commercial and started playing again. Now we're looking at fields. I'm guessing in Idaho. Okay. Blum's talking. They're not really getting to, like, details about things, really. It's just talking about the town and stuff. A lot of the students know each other. That has something to do with the tight-knit community. Not really. These are all temporary relationships. Unless you leave a relationship, like a couple or, like, actually staying friends with somebody if you leave college, those relationships don't last. So it can be tight-knit, but it's not tight-knit. These are strangers to you. This person was fake, Southern Sass. This person was Dot. This person was a troll that came out and said on her own face that she was a woman named that went by the name Braden and that everything that she said was fake. I was actually going to be bringing Dot back up because some of Steve Goncalves' messages started going around again between him and Brett Norton, and Brett Norton is where the Dot thing came from. I actually went in and recorded all of the interview that Brett Norton did with Melissa Jade the day that she came out and, like, admitted that all these messages were real and all the screen recording and everything. And I was going to break it down because there's something very specific that Brett Norton said that Steve told her about getting a phone call around 10:30 in the morning from a woman that was in the neighborhood, a girl in the neighborhood, but he didn't apparently tell her who it was, screaming and yelling about somebody being out in the woods at like 10:30 in the morning. But he never gave her any other details. And I don't even know how much I want to believe her, except that the conversation and the relationship between her and Steve Goncalves has been validated and verified. She was basically the third party middleman between Steve Goncalves and Howard Blum, whatever. Because they had conversations about Howard Blum, and she had even told him that, had told Steve that even though she wasn't going to be doing anything with Howard Blum, whatever, about Idaho, that she was going to be working with him on something else. Like, there's conversations between her and Howie that were released too. So I was going to be actually bringing that back up because a lot of people still think that Dot's a real thing, and Dot's not a real thing. Dot is not a real thing. She came out and literally confessed to her own fate with her own face after her face was like already like exposed. She was on Riley Lively's TikTok talking, and her face thing like came open, and instantly people started calling her out by her name Braden in the live chat. And so she had to come out and admit, yeah, this is all fake. None of it's real. Yeah, it's a whole thing. It was disgusting. Maddie being an only child does suck because they lost literally everything when Maddie got, yeah. She and her mama are literally copy paste. I mean, he's never come out and said that I was lying, and they've never come out and tried to retract it like they have some other stuff that's come out, so I doubt it, honestly. I kind of doubt it. When it comes to the Kerrville floods, I know that American Red Cross is taking donations for stuff, but they take a lot of money out of what you give them. There's a GoFundMe that I posted in my community tab for my sister's mother-in-law who lost her place. And I know that there's a lot of stuff locally, but when it comes to like specifics, I think like all the families are going to have like their own specific like GoFundMes and fundraisers and stuff. If there is a lot of the people affected by the flood, I know that it's obviously locals that lost their housing, but again, Red Cross takes like the majority of stuff. So I don't really know right now what they're doing because they're barely coming out and giving us a more of a count. They just upped the deceased to 43, I believe. And a bunch of those little second graders are still missing. So when I find more information that targets directly to the people, then I'll post all that stuff. But for right now, it's just mainly like American Red Cross. And I'm just like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Maddie had a 4.0. Damn. They're saying that Maddie and her boyfriend had a really good relationship. They're showing him. Do we know where this is actually factual? Do we know if this is true? Because I mean, if he was the person at the store that they saw on camera following Kaylee, it would make sense that he was interviewed. But do we have this like validated somewhere? But where, bro? We know that you're not really Maori, so where? Do we know where? Maybe it'll come out in every FOIA stuff in a few weeks. The family's crying in the beginning. The stuff in the very beginning is the stuff that's the most real. Kaylee was so pretty. No, the door was open. That's the problem that we have with Murphy is that now we're being told that he was just like in Kaylee's room, I think laying on the bed, either laying on the bed or laying somewhere, and the door was wide open. And they told us that the kennel was in the Range Rover still. And I guess Maddie's door was open too, which makes no sense because how is this dog not going to be covered in red stuff? You're trying to tell me the dog literally could smell all of that happening, was barking its head off, continued to bark for a whole 30 minutes more after suspect vehicle 1 left the area. From outside of the house, your own detectives determined this was outside barking, and then the dog was allowed back in after your suspect already left. We're not supposed to ask 1,001 questions about that. Yeah, sorry, not gonna happen. Give me 1 second. My dog just opened my door. Yeah, I know that somebody keeps saying like Mad Greek a bunch. Oh, did I just freeze? Yeah, I did. I don't think Mad Greek's the connection. I really don't. I think whatever's going on here doesn't have anything to do with Maddie or Kaylee. I could be wrong, but I don't think Mad Greek has anything to do with anything. I know that whenever Bratton Norton and Steve Goncalves first started talking, it was on the premise of Bratton Norton had dug up a bunch of information on Mad Greek, and Steve wanted that information. So some random third party got a hold of Brat and said, hey, you need to give Steve all of your information on the Mad Greek. But most of it was wrong information. On top of that, we're supposed to believe Home Dude is like this really strict ass vegan that doesn't eat anywhere, that's, won't eat out of pans that have touched meat. The Mad Greek serves lamb and only has like one vegan dish. And on top of that, none of the self-authenticating evidence was from the Mad Greek. None of it. So I don't think Mad Greek has anything to do with anything. I mean, you can come and say that I'm wrong all you want to, but you just screaming Mad Greek, oh my God, Mad Greek doesn't prove anything. Welcome, Malika. Welcome, welcome. I actually heard that something had happened and that the restaurant was closed down. See, so the owner is a female. That's kind of what I figured, because Brett Norton was going around telling everybody that the Mad Greek owner was a guy, but then a bunch of people were like, no, it was a woman. So that, I mean, I'm not to say that guys can't be SA'd, but this does make sense. The restaurant is shut. Yeah, that's wild. Two women that survived. Yeah, we know. Thank you for the $9.99 penguin. How does Dylan survive when the killer walks by, but Xana and Ethan do not? Why is the state perpetuating all of the lies? Ramslin is an egotistical opportunist that has no shame profiting off of others. She is so contradictorial. She sits there and says, thinking back, nothing gave me pause. And then 20 seconds later, after Brian Enton baits a question, yeah, thinking back, now I have a lot to question. You just said you didn't. So which is it? Yeah. And on top of that, how are you going to sit there and say premeditated, 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 premeditated? Whenever Kaylee wasn't living there anymore, she was just visiting. Y'all don't want to admit that Ethan was living there, but he was. None of this makes any sense. What do you mean? You're supposed to sit there and say one person was the target, because the way that their timeline is, they're still trying to say that Maddie was the target. So if Maddie was the target, then how are the rest of them premeditated? No, none of it. And then to still say they were asleep, y'all just want to continue the lies all the way down to zip. Like, I just don't get it. Dumb. Yeah, and had the time in the 7-minute-ish time frame that they're giving us. He also had time to stop and carve up Ethan's calves. Wild. That sounds like Joe Scott Morgan. I actually really like Joe Scott Morgan. I've been listening to him for a long time on his podcast. And sometimes he gives Nancy Grace a run for it. He doesn't always agree with her. So this is an interesting 3D animation, but I know that the one that's getting a lot of views right now from Asget, she's claiming her information came from Dateline. So I wonder how much her 3D tour of the house is going to differ from whatever Peacock has here. Dylan was able to hear Kaylee's dog, and they play a little light whimper of a dog, but we're not supposed to, we're supposed to believe she didn't hear all this crazy shit happening? Miss me with the boo-boo. Proceeds to Ethan and Xana on the second floor like it was planned? No. In her bedroom, Xana was on TikTok. No, the frick she wasn't. No, she wasn't. Because y'all are in the 4 o'clock hour, and whenever the self-authenticating evidence came out, y'all put her at 3:16, not the 4:12 y'all been lying to us about for 3 freaking years. It's gonna piss me off. It's gonna piss me off. Most people were awake. Because remember, even the DoorDasher was apparently, according to the third-party person that told this shit to Drunk Turkey, somebody was standing in the window as she was looking Bryan Kohberger in the eyeballs at 3:59 in the morning, before everything went crazy. So again, you want me to believe somebody literally walking up to the Target house looked him straight in his eyeballs as he drove by, and he still said, yep, it's go time. That's so stupid. Dumb. That part too. Food ordered from his account, but he's apparently passed out, and we're supposed to believe that this validates anything for Xana. Nothing's been validated for Xana. Nothing. They have lied to us about Ethan and Xana's timeline from the beginning, and now Bethany is sitting with his family at the hearing. None of this makes sense. Now they're saying Dylan opens her door for a third time. They're literally just going off of the PCA. Again, that's already been deemed completely irrelevant by the state. And never mind, now that we're hearing in the hearing, all the information coming out from like the grand jury transcripts is that Dylan also heard singing and music, like a whole freaking karaoke party was happening. And remember, in the beginning, one of the rumors was that she actually opened the door and yelled, shut the F up upstairs, because of how loud it was on the 3rd floor. But now we're supposed to go back to, she didn't hear nothing. No, nothing. No. I'm so tired of it. I hate all of this. They even have like light curls in this dude's hair that's walking by. Actually, Bloom Blum, whatever, she said he had a bushy eyebrow. Ooh, no. This whole timeline is all a lie. Through the sliding door. There's no proof of that either. And see, they've literally said all of this entire time that they have no proof of how the person came in or out the house. We heard from people in the very beginning. There was somebody that was walking their dog in the neighborhood and said that around 8:45 in the morning, the front door of 1122 was wide open. Wide open. And the only reason why they're even bringing in the slider is because, according to what's in the PCA, she's claiming that she sees this person walk in that direction. They literally state in that whole document itself, and even in the copy-paste version for Blaker, that this is all based on the direction in which the person was walking, that there's no proof they actually left the house at this time at all. And also, what did we hear from the grand jury transcripts? That she originally just thought that this was one of Xana and Ethan's friends leaving for the night. Oh, never mind, the fireman and the vacuum-like object. We're forgetting all of this stuff. Amazing. Everybody want to know why Dylan kept alive. Yeah. If she had spoken, she would have been another victim. So again, we're supposed to believe in premeditation, stalking, 20-something times that he went over there and all this other bullshit, and he didn't know about Dylan enough to where you can say, if she would have talked, she would have been dead, as if he wasn't supposed to know she was there. None of their shit makes sense. Yes. According to Steve Goncalves himself. I have the messages where he says that. Yeah, this stupid gag order. They need to hurry up and let it go. Yeah, they were texting and frantically trying to reach the victims, but they sure didn't go and check on them, even though Dylan saw one of them on the ground. They're showing some of the messages, which we've gone over religiously over here. Now we're at 10:23 in the morning. I'm on 16. It's only been 16 minutes. This thing's an hour and a half. I've been talking a shit ton. We're on 16 minutes, 22 seconds. So they just said that at 10:23 is whenever they're going to start talking about the movement. They literally just went all of these hours without saying any facts about all of the movement that was actually happening on their phones. They went from they're texting each other frantically and oh my god, I'm so confused to now 10:23. Literally laying it, like leaving out everything that's important here. Unbelievable. Knowing that Xana was on TikTok at 4:12 a.m. and Jeanette. 3:16. Do you read the documents? Or maybe you don't. That's why you're friends with Drunk Turkey, because you only listen to your MSM rhetoric and don't actually read the documents at all. 3:16, not 4:12. An hour. Does that matter to you, Anjanette? Does an hour matter to you? It should. Oh, this makes me mad. Yeah, I don't know what. Look, there was literally, I got so pissed and disgusted because Reverend Donna literally took this whole like container thing that Thompson said and created some disgusting freaking AI photo of a guy that was supposed to be Bryan with this ginormous pickle jar looking thing in his hand filled with blood. Because it fits her narrative that what she saw. And I'm thinking like, okay, so you're literally just going to glance over the fact that A, he's in his 70s, probably just like got the wording wrong, because the information is a vacuum type object and the guy looked like a fireman. But no, let's take the idiot's word for it. Let's go ahead and take his word for it that he's reading off of with no proof. Let's just take no facts. No facts. None. Oh, they're playing Xana's video, the one that she talks about her marketing major stuff. Actually, I'm glad they showed this one. Let me pop this on the stage real quick. You see the marks right here? You see these markings right here? Those are tire tracks. There's been tire tracks here for like a super, super long time. I don't know where people are getting some of the information that they're getting. I had somebody come in the chat the other day and say that the tires on Bryan Kohberger's car were not purchased in Washington or Idaho because they were able to take the tracks and track it to a tire that was only sold in Pennsylvania. And this person was like deadpan. I'm like, you're mental. You're absolutely mental. I went and bought the Carfax that exact same day. It was like the day of or the day before the guilty plea. And he bought tires in Washington after he moved. So this person got this information from who knows where and is going around telling people that, well, listen, that they matched the tire tracks to some Pennsylvania tire that wasn't sold anywhere locally when the Carfax itself says tires were bought in Washington after he moved. Facts matter. And not lying matters. I can't stand that Xana and Ethan's stories aren't told more because something's wrong. That's what they tried to say. Yeah, it was that Bryan took a vial of somebody else's blood inside and literally like planted the blood that was on the door, the what do you call it, the stair rail, and the glove that was outside. Like he planted the unknown DNA in 7 minutes and apparently cleaned up. Their timeline's wild. They're talking about Xana and Ethan now a little bit. I'm glad they're talking about them. And they're showing Stacy talking from the memorial. He was so tall. Damn. So tall. I'd still like to know about the 2 a.m. comment. I guess we'll never know. He did. He did. Bloom Blum, whatever, came out and was like, in a few weeks, everyone's going to be talking about it. So you heard it here. They're looking into these chemicals and blah, 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 blah. And nobody said nothing. Nobody said words. There was no articles. There was no big boom of media coverage. Just saying. Ridiculous. Press the skip button. I have it for YouTube. YouTube is doing the timing on it. I'm a big skip ad person. Just skip it. No. There really isn't any case evidence stuff in this. I mean, I'm glad that they're talking about, Xana and Ethan some more, but this is really just more like an emotional video, which is fine. I understand that they want to keep the victims' names alive, but we don't need to be having all the false information in here. You mean how Dylan had no empathy for Xana? People that do this to people have no empathy, period. Okay, well, Dylan had no empathy for Xana. You cannot tell me that she did not get to Bethany's room and be like, oh my God, Xana's on the floor. And then call her friend and be like, we think she drank too much. And that be the star focus of the 911 call as well. And you didn't check on her for 8 hours. I don't give a damn what anybody says or how this goes. I don't care. Dylan and Bethany left Xana for dead for 8 hours, knowing in their minds, at least the story that's being told is, oh, alcohol. But then again, we do know that there's messages between the two of them about how it sounds like they're being killed. So the whole alcohol thing was literally just a cover story. That to me, if you take all of that into context, because again, this came from Steve Goncalves' information. They were aware. that they were not alive, made up a story about the alcohol thing, and then started making their phone calls. Is how it sounds. Could be a serial, could commit more crimes. Well, you already proved that he didn't have a past of that, which y'all all tried to say. Everybody tried to say. There's even still a bunch of videos going around trying to say that the Pennsylvania grand jury must have had something to do with the friend of Bryan's that died whenever there was no connection to the woman that they were even asking him about to begin with. People make up some crazy shit, bro. Me too. Actually, when I went to go order it, I was really surprised because I prefer soft cover books because I like how like flimsy they are, and I like to write and highlight in my books if it's like this kind of book. The hardcover was actually cheaper than the soft cover because there was like a huge sale. So the hardcover only ended up being like 23 bucks, but the soft cover was like 35, which they wild for that shit. I won't pay more than $25 for a book. I don't care what it is. See, they still don't have an answer for that. They never came out and said, he just said, was he mad at the town? Was he aiming at the students? Was it the house? Da, 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 da. What was it? There's no answers to that. The knife sheath. And again, I'll say again, Thompson could have taken the opportunity right then and there to say that the style of knife that was purchased back in March had the USMC logo, and that would have taken me aback a bunch, okay? I've been saying that from the beginning. They couldn't even tell us that. They still have not told us that. You can go and buy all kinds of different K-bar sheaths and sharpeners that don't have the USMC logo. Why are you not telling us that it has the logo? You've had the opportunity forever now. And now that we are here, you still couldn't stand up in court and be like, and it matched the one found at the scene because it had the same logo. You couldn't have told us that. Is it because it doesn't? Is it because it doesn't? The evidence needs to come out. Because if that's the case, if this damn thing does have the actual logo on it and it's proven from like they printed out his inventory, which by the way, you cannot manipulate your purchase history on Amazon. That's pretty hard coded. You can't really go in there and manipulate your purchases. I know that I've tried to figure out ways to be able to buy stuff for my bigger kids. They all have access to Amazon. So if I were to buy something for a birthday or just in general or for Christmas, I couldn't really buy stuff on Amazon because they could easily just log in and see what I'm purchasing. There's not a way to do that. Just everything about the Amazon is just such bullshit. The knife sheath was for a K-bar knife. So, and they've yet to prove that the wounds came from that style weapon. And again, small, weak, frail man with paper-thin wrists apparently did all of this with one blade in 7 to 9 minutes. While the defense is telling us that at least Kaylee had multiple weapons used on her. Mm-mm. Of course they're going to say there's no need for Santa to be specific. Because if they were to hear from him, it doesn't have the logo, they wouldn't be able to be guilters anymore and they would lose their identities. Hey, Jesse. Yeah, we know what the knife is. You're not proving anything to us, though. Oh, he takes it out the sheath. Joe Scott, I love you to death, bro. No, he follows me on Twitter. I haven't ever talked to him. I wonder if he'd message me back if I messaged him about a couple of things. They're not telling us anything about this. And I also love that they didn't tell us that there was like 2 other DNAs of blood on the back of the knife sheath itself until all this time later. I'm pretty sure they said that it was Maddie and Kaylee's blood, which makes sense if it was on the bed. But I love how they didn't say like literally anything at all for years. And they made it sound as if, oh, just this one speck of this and the entire thing was completely perfectly clean. No, there's blood on it, which makes sense. Like, duh. Oh, they got the same light fixtures as I do. So they're basically putting, at least according to what Joe Scott just said, they're saying that they know that either Maddie or Kaylee was the target simply because of where the knife sheath was found. So if the knife sheath would have been found next to Xana, would Xana have been the target? If the knife sheath would have been found next to Ethan, would Ethan have been the target? That's what they're basing this off of? What a horrible theory. Precisely. Mm-hmm. Right. Kaylee was not living there. Oh yeah, all these people that like want to make sure they put like killers and stuff away will come in my inbox and say that they hope my ex finds me and finishes the job. But we're supposed to be the idiots. We're supposed to be the freaks and the psychos. Good thing I carry Spyro. He commented on my last video, and I'm extremely disappointed in him. And honestly, I don't care. He lost a lot of credibility with me because he's over there on Twitter with that stupid letter that I did a video about earlier, saying that he got from a legitimate source that it's real. I'm sorry. Did you see all those misspellings? You really think that this is real? Then I don't trust anything that you say anymore. I just don't. The fact that he did that, I am disappointed as hell because everything that Twiz has put out up until now about the towers and him going out to the location, everything has been substantiated and proven up until he got into this mess with these weirdo people that are pushing this fake ass letter. So yeah, disappointed to say the least. I mean, and that's fine to be upset with what happened, but don't sit here and push a fake ass letter and pretend like you know people that can validate this thing. You're wanting me to believe that a man that literally demanded perfection from his students is misspelling things? What the frick is gratefulness? No clue, can't relate, no idea. No, I'm sorry. Pathetic. Shouldn't. This is just as stupid as Steve Goncalves coming out and lying about Brian's device, touching the Wi-Fi, and then having to come back and be like, that was not true. That's not true, actually. That's not right. It's not okay to lie. I don't care how you feel. It's not okay to lie. Ugh. Do you? I don't know who wrote it. Whoever wrote it's pathetic. Whoever wrote it and started it is the stupid idiot. I don't care who it was. I mean, I care who it was, but honestly, I don't care who it was. They're stupid. They don't deserve my time. And super OCD. Yeah. Mm-mm. I wouldn't trust Red Cross either. Signatures and handwriting are not a sign of perfectionism. So that's kind of a not valid comparison, I guess. Can I prove Bryan didn't write it? You don't get to be a PhD student and misspell gratefulness. How many other misspelling errors? I'm not going to sit here and argue about this damn thing. It was fake as shit, okay? Fake. You want to believe that? Then I feel bad for you. Now here's Chronicles of Olivia down there talking about being down there. That too. In my very educated with a college degree opinion, yes, no PhD student or no DNA expert is going to write this damn letter and look like they are a third grader from Nigeria that doesn't know English. Go read it and then come back and argue that. Come on. Sadly, pathetically gullible. So they brought in some pieces from the Goncalves interview that Chronicles of Olivia did with them. That was one of the earlier stuff, the stuff that's probably needs to be paid more attention to. Go check out the video that I did earlier, Sly. It's the one right before this. The letter is on there. Actually, I'll put a link for it down in the description box. The letter is on there. And I didn't say what channel I got it from. I didn't say who sent it to me. And I didn't say who I was mad about going out and acting stupid. But then he came and commented and he was like, you'll see soon enough. And I'm just like, you should be ashamed of yourself. I don't care if you're upset about what's happening here. You're not going to sit here and tell me that a man that graded so harshly for perfection that we have seen the way that he writes wrote this. You guys, we have gone over the way that he responds to people on websites. He speaks like a computer. When he types out stuff, he talks like a computer, like a machine. To believe this, I don't know why anybody would ever take you seriously about anything ever again in your entire life. If you believe this letter. I'm sorry, not sorry about it. It was not. Jesus Christ. You mean the other one that hasn't shown any proof of anything? Probably. Now Olivia and Steve Jr. are skipping rocks. And they're looking for rocks to skip. Okay. They haven't really talked about anything in this. It's on the website. It's on the Idaho portal, yeah. There's 2 versions of it, but they both have the month crossed out. That too. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Like anything that she had in Idaho, if this was legit, would have instantly been taken back. And the punctuations are all off. There's double spacings on things because somebody was like, whenever you talk to text, there's no punctuation. The problem is that there's incorrect punctuation and double spacing, which means not talk to text. I'm not even going to talk about this damn letter. I made a video saying everything I had to say. Conversation done. Okay, so they suck at skipping rocks. Okay, let's talk about the case now. She's asking him about Kaylee. Exactly. Some people don't understand common logic. Yeah, something IT out of her wheelhouse. Exactly. She was gonna be a teacher, and then all of a sudden, left field, she decided to go look into IT and took a job that was gonna get her all the way over here, all the way to Texas, conveniently where her sister's going to, not the same place, not the same town, but still trying to get out of there faster. To the point to where she already had her job and everything ready to go before she even graduated. That's how desperate she was to get out of there. I'm not supposed to take any credence to that. I'm not supposed to pay attention to her hesitance to go back that weekend, her drastic change in career last minute that got her to go so far away. I can't not look at those things. It's just all strange. Yeah, they're in this together. And they are on Chronicles of Olivia's Facebook page making out and shit. Yeah, in the snow. Yeah. Hey, Al. Somebody's microwaving something. Caught that, huh? Yeah. Interesting, ain't it? You can tell Steve Jr. is upset. Once the person responsible for these crimes is properly incarcerated. He doesn't seem too confident. He doesn't seem too confident at all. Thank you for the 10, Heron. Forget the spelling, grammar, and diction drills. Just click OK to continue. I know. Scammer alert. Scammer alert is like the first thing whenever I read that. Like, guys, I have done videos telling you guys about the stupid emails. Man, I have so many more. I have so many. Even Red Bull. Some guy tried to scam me thinking that he was a Red Bull representative, and to turn out Red Bull doesn't do those kinds of things. I had to turn this guy into Red Bull. I've had to turn in people to Samsung, to GoPro, to legitimate companies. Aquafina, a fake Aquafina account, ended up trying to like steal this woman's entire YouTube account. Like, these people are so obvious. There's always a mistake. They always end up putting a period on a weird spot. The punctuation is off. There's a slight misspelling. And honestly, the public school system does a piss poor job of educating people, because it does take somebody that actually stops and pays attention to notice whenever a lot of these things are fake. A lot of people get scammed. And honestly, I look at some of them and I'm like, if I didn't have the brain that I have, I probably would have fell for that shit too. I'm just saying. But this was so not that situation. Like, this is insane. Insane. Thank you for the $20 super sticker, Alf. I appreciate it. Yeah. Okay. So they're talking about how they canvassed the neighborhood. It's a lot of back and forth. A lot of back and forth. There was not a license plate on this vehicle. Yes, there was. Yes, there was. We pulled up the picture of SV1 from the state's own information, zoomed that big choss in all the way, and can see a license plate. You can see it go up, you can see it go over, and you can see it go down like a license plate. When are they going to stop lying? There was a license plate. And also, Brett Payne damn straight told everyone that until they had Bryan Kohberger's name, positioning of a license plate, if there was or wasn't a license plate, was not anything that they were even looking at, because it wasn't anything that jumped out. It wasn't until after they had Bryan's information that suddenly the license plate mattered. but the license plate's there. Even if you want to pretend that it's not there, your eyes know that it's there. You can see it. Don't pretend like you can't see it. You can see it. And it doesn't matter who presents it to you. Go grab it yourself. Go grab it yourself. The pictures are on the public website. Go to the document, scroll to that page, and zoom in. You can see it. They cropped it to where you can barely see like this much of it, but it's there. It's totally there. So for them to say that is a damn lie. I can't believe they're still pushing this shit. It was definitely there. The lies is insane. Yeah, but there's no proof it's even the same car that passed all those times. You literally have no proof of crap. You have a bunch of outdated color altering cameras. Attempt to turn or park. They don't know. I'd love to know whose Hyundai this is. Because they have a whole Hyundai and it has a license plate that says, like, I don't know. I'll have to pull up the Carfax and see if this is the same license plate. Because they're showing a vehicle and it has a license plate showing. Somebody went out there with a camera and then a guy with a car. Oh my gosh, they're showing the stupid gas station footage. Jesus, okay. But there was a front license plate on this vehicle. And I love how they still are like reminding us they just put out a bunch of stock photos. Like, don't you think that if they really had like such a good view of the actual car, that regardless of the fact that it was black and white, they would have put a screenshot of the real car they were looking for? Like, it doesn't matter what anyone says about, oh, they didn't want to spook the real person. You're already putting out the bolo for the car information. What is the difference between using the stock photo and giving us the real screenshot? You could have given us the real screenshot. But remember that this information about the car came out, and then the body camera from Banfield came out, and then the Oregon car, all of it happened within like a 24-hour period, and it was freaking everyone the hell out. I remember that cluster F. Thank you for the $10, Heron. I don't know if you saw earlier. I'm 84 miles from your hometown. We're good over here. Just some heavy rain and flooded lawns, but I hope your friends and family are okay. Yeah, Kerrville is destroyed. And Hunt, they're still looking. The last time I've been doing like live updates on my second channel. And the last time I checked, the death count's up to like 40 something. And they still haven't found all of those little second grade babies at that damn camp. It's just so disgusting, everything that's been going on over there. It's really been hard on my dad. Like, he really just has not been able to like look away because he's here. He was up here to visit whenever all this happened. They didn't even know storms were coming in. So he's like watching everything just get destroyed on a TV screen. It's a lot of destruction. My sister's mother-in-law got stuck on the roof of her house out in Hunt in the early morning hours yesterday and was up there for hours and hours and hours before a boat could get to her to rescue her. Her mom's house across the street is completely gone, and her or completely destroyed. And then her house itself it's all just ruined. It's all just ruined. I'm glad you guys are okay. I know that there was more rain. Like, a lot of people were saying there was more rain coming in. We had people in my other chat saying that Austin, Travis County was being evacuated because a lot of rain and stuff's coming. It's been a crazy couple of days with these storms. The car they're using doesn't have a license plate. That's so funny because this car had a damn license plate. All the time. It's destroyed now. Well, not completely destroyed, last I heard. Or was it the Hunt store? I know that the dam store and everything like across from the dam, a lot of people thought the Ingram Dam had broken, but it didn't. we just had like 26 to 32 feet of water within 45 minutes. So it looks like a dam broke, but it didn't break. But the everything in Hunt, the Hunt store, like the columns and everything in the front are still there, but the post office is completely gone. Camp Mystic has like one building with a roof still standing. Everything else is completely destroyed. That's where those little girls are still missing from. It's been bad. It's been a lot. Yeah, I used to go there a lot. I lived there till I was 15. My parents got a divorce, but my dad and my sister still live down there. Okay, there it is. I know, not my freaking numbers on this damn license plate. That's freaking insane. Okay, so KTS 2193 are on this license plate. Let me see if I can see the license plate on the whatchamadoodler. Where'd it go? So this is his Carfax. I'll show you this real quick. This is the Carfax for the car. There's the VIN, sedan 4-door, 1.8 liter, gasoline front wheel drive. There's like an original window sticker. Check that out real quick. There wouldn't be a license plate on it for the window sticker. This thing has 7 recalls. Did y'all see that? 7 has service history records, not recalls. But there was a couple of things that were problems that they had on here. See, this is the first purchaser back in 2014 in South Carolina. And then something got done in Kentucky. Right here in 2016 is whenever, from what I'm understanding, is whenever his mother purchased the vehicle. Or was that 2017? No, it must have been the 2017. She would have been like the third owner in 2017. Because it's in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. They had the name of the place. I could have sworn they had the name of the place on here. But then we have the car going to the 4th person in 2019. And it doesn't have like a business or anything on it that was involved in the purchase. So it's like the registration was just switched. Because we were told, see Albrightsville, we were told that his mom had it before he had it. That's why whenever they had the iPad that was still found in the vehicle from like 2016, I'm like, his mom had the car back in 2016. So that's crazy. There was a receipt for an iPad from 2016 that they're trying to link to anything. That's never his mother owned the vehicle. I was trying to see if they had anything with the license plate on it, but I bet you it's in the actual record. I'm just curious as to if they actually like faked a plate to match the plate on his car. That's what I'm curious about. That's what I'm trying to find real quick before we continue. Make and model. Let me look at all. I'm going to look and find it because I'm sure that they have it. Maybe in the self-authenticating records. I bet you would be there. Because now I'm curious. See DMV records. The license. Yeah, that's the ATM thing. But where do they not have his like the plate in here? I don't remember where the plate was. Like I know I probably can go back and look at the Indiana stuff, but I was just trying to see if there was anything in the documents. Because if not, then they just have like a random Hyundai Elantra driving around with the license plate on it. Think it's random? I think it's probably random too. title number, VIN number, odometer. I mean, that would have been it anyway. Yeah, it would have been a Pennsylvania plate. Okay, whatever. Back to the show. It's not showing up. Oh no. It just signed me out. Hold on, guys. I took too long. Now I got to start it back up. Almost forgot my password, but I just had to reset it. Get rid of all this Carfax info. Close these pages up. Okay, let's start this again. It is probably random. Just saw something. 11 months. Hey there, Layla. Praying for the little girls. Yeah, it's all insane. They even have like black markings on the vehicle, like how dirty Brian's car looked in the Indiana stops. They have all those black markings on the car. And then they have the car leaving at 4:20. I remember they showed something. I'll have to go back to the body cams. I'm pretty sure that the license plate was red on the Pullman body cam. That would have been, yeah, that would have been still his old plates. I'll have to go back and check it. The freaking hiccups all of a sudden. Ugh. Thank you for the $10, Layla. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. There was somebody in my chat earlier on my second channel whenever we were going through the press conference that they did at 2 something, 3, well, supposed to be 2 o'clock, but it was like after 3 o'clock. And she was from Travis County, and she was saying that they were getting a bunch of alerts and to be very careful. Did they really? I know some channels have all of them. I'd have to go through all of them. I've seen some of them. I know that they were passing back and forth money for paying utilities, and that's where me and Lucy Morningstar here went and found evidence that, you know, Domino's was probably actually ordered around midnight. There was a Venmo for pizza between Ethan and Xana, and then Heather found a piece of the Linda Lane that had a car that looked like it had like the Domino's light thing on the top of it, and it was around the same time frame for stuff. But yeah, that's his light. That's his plate. Okay, yeah, this one is KTS 2193. So random. Okay. So now we're at 2 weeks on November 29th, 2022. Now 11/29 is from what I can recall, the date that they pulled information about Brian's vehicle from the WSU like inquiry on the type of cars that were in there. I think that's the right date. It's showing the Steptoe Apartments. They're driving around the neighborhood, driving around the parking lot. It's the KTS 2193 license plate again. This is okay. So they're showing the car, but it has a Washington tag. Does it have a Washington tag thing on it? No, they have it Pennsylvania. Okay. But there was a front plate. They can lie all they want to. It was there. I guess KTS 2193 was his Pennsylvania plate. Because they're sure keeping it on there. Thanks for joining, True Crime Unleashed. Athletically built. He's tall and athletically built. Small, weak, frail man with paper-thin wrists. We shall continue. Unbelievable. No history of violence or criminal convictions. Tunnel vision on Bryan Kohberger, but not from 11/29. They did whatever they did on 11/29 and didn't give a damn. And if this would have gone to trial, then Ann Taylor would have came out and given us the correspondence that shows that until they had Bryan's name on the 19th, they did not even contact WSU about the information from 11/29. So whatever happened on 11/29, nobody in Moscow cared or looked at it. That's facts based off of what we've been hearing from court. Well, Kylie's got sold at auction, even though somebody died in the back seat, in the back of the vehicle. Someone purchased that vehicle. Yeah. There's some information that's like recent for his Hyundai Elantra. I'll do a completely separate video on everything that's on the Carfax, but there was some movement like after the crimes when it comes to like service news alerts and like I think one recall or something like that. But I don't think it says that anything was done to it because it definitely would have been in Fed custody until it was switched over to Idaho because we know the feds did everything. The feds were the ones who tore the car apart first. So I'm not quite sure where it's at. You'd think that it would probably be in like some police impound lot somewhere, but then again, they did destroy the house. So who honestly knows? Who knows? Well, they must be building something. Okay, so now we've gone back to August 2022, which is 3 months before. They go way this back and forth timeline boo-boo, I don't appreciate at all. They need to keep it in line. Ridiculous. Okay, now Howard Bloomblum is talking about the PhD program. Okay, so now a girl is coming in and saying, okay, this is a girl that's claiming that Bryan was her teaching assistant. This is the one that said that she didn't want to show her face because she's afraid of him. But if he's guilty and he's behind bars and he's not ever getting out because he's the right guy, what are you afraid of? He can't reach you through the prison walls. So I don't know. I can't validate anything this person is going to say because they're not showing their face. So I don't know if this is the BK Norton person that's had it out for Bryan since he basically got there, or someone with a little bit of credibility because they're not showing their face. It's kind of annoying. Why don't you want to appear on camera? Because I'm afraid of Bryan Kohberger. He's behind bars. The things that he's allegedly accused of is extremely scary. Well, he's behind bars. First day of class, he looked scary with sunken eyes, and the energy around him didn't feel right. He was respected as a TA because of how smart he was and where he was in his educational career. Okay, so are you going to say anything important? Or is that it? That's all she said? She didn't want to speak on camera just to say that he had sunken in eyes and looked a little creepy on the first day of class? She better show back up with something because I'm a little confused. Okay, talking about Pleasant Valley High School where his dad was a maintenance tech. His mom was a teacher for special ed students. Pretty normal background? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You don't jump into using H as a teenager because your background was normal, coffin gagger. Come on now. Just because we don't know anything that was going on doesn't mean that there's not a possibility that something had happened at some point, because you don't do that. You don't do that. I love how Coffin Gagger acts like she actually knows anything about his past. There's no proof of anything. Here's Anjanette. Kohberger's parents were supportive. Yeah, that's true. There's been reporting that he was bullied. I mean, look, I don't know where Willie is. I haven't seen Willie in a minute. But Willie said that there wasn't really a lot of bullying. That he had a friend group. It was just a small friend group. And then he lost a bunch of weight, got, was friends with other people. But when it came to like hardcore bullying, we haven't heard anything about that. Not to say that there wasn't, but we haven't heard any stories about that. What we have learned recently from an excerpt from the Patterson book that's going to be coming out is that he did have a friend that he was friends with in school that was like the complete opposite of him, that he was like the strange, awkward kid, and this other friend that ended up actually dying from an overdose in 2021. Whenever they were in school together, this guy was like the big popular athletic kid. So he was friends with the popular athletic kid in school as the weird, strange kid, which is interesting. Was he? I haven't seen him around in a couple days. I mean, honestly. Here we go, age 15. Now here comes the visual snow stuff. We are going to go over those. I mean, I wanted to go over them before, and I had literally the tab was open whenever the news broke. I had 4 different tabs open for things that we were going to start going over, and one of them was the visual snow posts. We're still going to go over those. We're going to do a few at a time as to not overdo the videos and make them like super long, but I'd like to go through the post because it'll give us more of an idea about maybe what's actually happening here. Because again, I'm not convinced that he actually is the person who did this. They haven't given us any new information. But when it comes to being susceptible, manipulated, all of the things, it'd be nice to get a little bit further down into the way that his brain works. Because again, small, weak, frail man with paper-thin wrists who can't use a knife, who takes remedial classes in boxing for people that have mobility issues, not for stamina or competition, according to the guy that was going to come and testify from Pennsylvania that owns the boxing gym. This was not competitive sports practice. This was for people with issues that were trying to just be a little bit more stable in everyday walking around. All of those things are extremely important whenever you think of the logistics they're trying to tell us when it came to how this crime happened. He can't function correctly, physically, in order to be able to do these things. And again, small, weak, frail man with paper-thin wrists. No. No. The visual snow thing is crazy. Like, the way that they're describing it is insane. I wouldn't be able to, like, I definitely could understand how somebody who dealt with visual snow would slightly start going insane slowly. If that was constantly in your vision and it was just like all of the time and you literally didn't know what was reality because this is your reality, I mean, honestly, I'd probably go a little crazy. So this guy talking now has visual snow? Huh. Visual snow sounds crazy. I would literally lose my shit. Tinnitus, I get that a lot. So visual snow, everything is like really blurry, lights are extremely bright, and your ears are constantly ringing. My God. No cure. Insane. Thank you for the $10, Heron. And again, he had to exert so much control over 6 people on 3 floors that none of them joined the fight on another floor, none escaped, and none called the police. He's a ninja then, am I right? Yeah, I don't understand it. And like I made a video in the very beginning. If no one like okay, if something was going on upstairs, if this was just one person, okay, and we have a DoorDash happening, we don't have TikTok happening at 412 like we were told, but originally this is what we were told, 412 TikTok, and everything is supposed to be going on upstairs with Maddie and Kaylee. So you're sitting here telling me that collectively Xana and Ethan together did not call 911 because of what was happening upstairs. They were awake and getting food and answering the DoorDash, everything else, and no one called 911 from hearing that upstairs. No one ran out of the house. You're also sitting here trying to make me freaking believe that Dylan apparently saw somebody in that house, and instead of the girls running out together out of that front door to safety to the next house to call 911 because, oh my God, somebody's in here and doing crazy shit, you go and you lock yourself in the basement bedroom to where if anybody was coming for you, they were going to get you. No, you wouldn't put yourself in a bedroom that you were literally like putting yourself in a corner in because you knew that you weren't in danger. Ain't nobody going to change my mind. Nobody's going to change my mind. Oh, well, thank you, Crimezilla. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, the visual snow one we're going to be going over. I'll give y'all the links for those too. They're bringing up one of them. See, look, I'll show y'all this one right now. You're trying to tell me that this person wrote like this at 15, but we're supposed to sit here and believe that he writes like a freaking third grader from, again, another country. Like, he's using words I've never even read before at 15, talking about how all of this is so very descriptive. Like, no, I'm sorry. I don't give a damn. No, he did not write that damn letter. And that's probably the last thing I'm going to say about it. But here's an example. And if you need another one, go watch the video where we went over his Quora responses. Because again, he speaks like a robot. He's very, 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 very detailed and specific. These animations are wild. She just said, this is what Bryan Kohberger likely said on internet forums, and then goes on to read verbatim one of his posts. Okay. She's literally reading from him, but it's a from him. He was on a lot of meds. He has delusions of grandeur. I don't fit in anywhere. Why don't I fit in? I mean, and honestly, if you really think back to the way that you felt as a 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old, how normal does this sound? Let's be honest. How normal does this sound for a teenager? It's sad. Pretty much, I'm an a-hole. I find no joy in life. I mean, a lot of people feel like that. A lot of people don't find joy in life. That's not an uncommon feeling. I can say or do whatever I want with no emotion or feeling. Well, that's probably a lot of the autism too. Because they're not saying that he has any of these disorders. Like, even in all of the testing and stuff that was done, they're coming out with OCD, autism, and then this like mobility issue. When it comes to all the testing, like, they're not really showing anything at all. I mean, obviously he had issues, and he probably still has issues. Like, there's no way that he's just like, fixed all his problems. But to the extent that they're trying to say, there's no proof of a lot of the stuff that they're trying to act like. Like, I understand as a teenager and all the things that, whatever, but people do grow out of things. This man was almost 30 by the time all this happened and had accomplished a lot. Honestly, a huge 180 to what he was as a 15, 16, 17-year-old. Huge 180. High school, reinvent himself, working out, taking boxing. It was not for what people are saying, though. I'm going to find that article. We're going to talk about what the boxing guy said. Yeah, 100, 125 pounds. Goes vegan. He did lose a lot of weight. You change a lot whenever you lose an entire person's worth of weight. It does change your personality. I know that whenever I lost 100 pounds before I gained a bunch of it back, it changed my confidence level a shit ton. Okay, that's not abnormal. You should take pride in losing that much damn weight. It's hard. My daughter has too. I'm sure my son has thoughts like that too. Every kid does. Mm-hmm. Talking about his H problem. That too. Okay, they're bringing up stealing his sister's phone. His father turned him into the cops. He was like 17 whenever this sounds like a stupid sibling rivalry thing. Like, how many of you have had your brother or your sister do some stupid crap like take off with your phone? I mean, how many of you as parents have had your kid take off with your phone? Because he stole a phone from his sister, he must be a quadruple murderer. It's a wild, wild connection. Okay, rehab. Now him at a wedding holding a glass of champagne. Okay, now he's graduating from DeSales. See, the back and forth, the timeline back and forth is a lot. They should have done this differently. Basically, she's trying to say that he had to have been driven by some sort of like animalistic need to continue his education. So everybody that's trying to figure out how to so if somebody wants to be a nurse, it's because they want to be able to figure out how to kill people medically without being found, because that's the same concept. You can literally say, oh, they only went and got their degree because of this other motive, not because they actually wanted to be in that career, but because they had something screwed up in their brain. Now, I know that there have been plenty of like police officers and stuff like that that have obviously flipped in the head and they're using it for like a whatever, but that's not the case for everything. You would literally have to say this about anyone that was going to school for this, that they're only doing it because there's some sort of other motive, because they want to be able to do all these other crazy things that, you know, they want to be able to get away with it. That's the only reason why they're putting themselves through all these student loans and all these years of education. It's a lot. And Jeanette Levy. See, was it because he wanted to actually work in the criminal system, or was it because he wanted to understand himself? Well, we never got the trial to figure it out. Stupid people. Now October 14th, 1 month before the murders. This went 3 months before the murders and then went back to talking about DeSales and now is back again. They are all over the place. This timeline is horribly messed up. Now they're talking about how now we have to tie this car to the crime scene, which is not true, because this is October 14th, 2022, the Pullman stop, where he talks like a robot. Very matter of fact, this is what's going on. He's eye contact with the officer pretty much the entire time. I thought he was polite. I mean, see, and now they're saying that, see, I knew they were going to do this because they did this crap in the one that I said was like them pilling the audience for getting rid of the IGG. They're not even mentioning the Moscow pullover for the phone number. They're saying that they got the phone number information from the Pullman stop. This happened in Idaho. Nothing that happened in Pullman before they had Bryan's name had anything to do with the damn thing. The traffic stop they were supposed to use in court was the one for Moscow with the Duke guy, the one that I couldn't get any information for because it was sealed, and then tried again whenever they called it a public document, and they said I still couldn't get it. Hopefully we get it at this point, because what you holding back for? All it is for identification purposes, unlike what that stupid ass judge put in that order, which went against everything that the state has already said about this traffic stop. But they're doing the exact same thing here, trying to say, oh, they got all of Bryan's information from this Pullman, Washington pullover. No. No. Why are they lying? Interesting. They're all over the place lying. I know not. Whew, I saw Scott Green and I was like, excuse me? But no, it's not that Scott Green. It's a different Scott Green that they have coming in here and talking, who's a senior digital forensics examiner, but they probably could have chose somebody with a different name. I'm just saying. Threw me for a minute. And this is also stupid because they already said literally in the hearing, yeah, touch the phone towers that services the area, but we can't prove he was ever at 1122 King Road on any of those occasions. There's all kinds of people that live there. The whole thing is pathetic. Why they got this car constantly pulling out of the in section of the apartments? He lived at the G section of the apartments. They couldn't even get that part right. Okay, so now they have the car leaving the apartments. Yes. Now they're talking about how the cell phone goes off the thing. They have no proof how they have never come out and given us the forensic download information that would have said if this phone was actually turned off or not. And Steve Goncalves coming out and being like, oh, the battery was at 94%. How do you know? No one's telling you anything. I don't believe you. And if he really did go the direction that we were told, all of these people from lawn crime, the Vinnie-Politan people, all of the people have driven out that direction towards that park and immediately lost service. And whenever they come back on the TV screen, they have to say, well, we couldn't go live from the park. We had to drive all the way back into Pullman just to be able to get service, which literally goes with what we've been being told here the whole time. It's just amazing how we can just go this far, and then people that want him guilty are just totally okay with none of this stuff actually being proven because they want to be right. I will be wrong all day long if I'm actually wrong, but you've yet to prove me wrong. And even these morons that come over here and do all of this about how wrong I am, all they can say is that I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. Did you hear answers? Did you get anything answered in that hearing? Because we did it. So if you figured something out that no one else did, please let me know. I won't wait. Okay, so they're just like eerily showing a cell light or some sort of light up in the sky and playing like UFOs are coming music. Like, this is not the vibe. Not the vibe. So now we have 4:48 whenever the phone apparently gets turned back on, or when the car actually, is driven into an area where there's service. They have the wrong screen for the car. They have a big, huge looking screen, and then like this whole thing is just not correct. I don't check my emails after I'm done. I don't check them normally during the thing. I'll check it in a little bit. So they have the car pulling back into the WSU apartment place. That's what it sounded like. Okay, it's just a bunch of eerie music and like dark scenes. Yeah, UFOs coming music. See, he literally, this person, whoever this person is, let me repeat it. Law enforcement couldn't prove Bryan Kohberger was actually at the King Road house during the time of the murders because there was no information being exchanged between cell phone and cell phone tower during that time frame. The prosecution might say that it was turned off or put into airplane mode, meaning they don't have a definite. How did we just agree to a guilty plea to a man that they can't even prove was there, not just at the time of the crime, but all the 20-something phone pings? Again, he could be in his living room and connect to the tower that services King Road. This means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. See, this part right here, how are they supposed to prove this? This is the part that I don't understand. How are they supposed to prove this? Because I don't believe that this is what this says. And we've gone through this portion of this document trying to figure out exactly what this says because they have it in two different sections. I can't remember which video it was, but we went over this very, very specific thing, especially since I found an AT&T letter that was written back in August of 2022 because the White House, the government, asked AT&T to explain how they actually retain customer location information and how long they store it. And in the AT&T letter, they literally stated that they hold it for 5 years. And everything that they were talking about that's held for this 5 years sounds just like what we're supposed to believe these timing advance records are. So this whole 7-day thing doesn't really make a lot of sense to me regardless because of what AT&T themselves are telling our government about what they do with the location information and how long they hold it. So I don't really quite understand that. But this portion we've been trying to really figure out because this is what it says. Page 28 shows a map that includes 1122 King Road, represented by CS icon with a circle that represents a 100-meter radius around the crime scene. Apparently, Balance was supposed to explain the analysis of these cell sites in the area that provide coverage to the crime scene and identify any cell sites that drive test data showed coverage that included this 100-meter radius around the crime scene. Okay, there is nothing in here that says that Bryan Kohberger's information connected to that. Not in this paragraph. Then it says the state has not disclosed this analysis. Pages 29 and 30, so other pages, say that between the hours of 10 p.m. and 4 a.m., 23 separate instances between July 9th, 2022 and November 7th, 2022. That's the exact same stuff that Santa just said at the hearing. While also the very next sentence says they cannot prove he was at that location. So if they can say they have a map of a 100-meter radius around the crime scene and they still can't put him in that location, then they did not put him in that 100-meter radius of the crime scene. And Santa literally just said that to us a couple of days ago at this hearing. So all of this stuff they're trying to say is not true. They just said it in court that it's not true. So there's that. And I just don't understand how we're still here. Like the fact this is where we're at is really gross. It's not a damning and powerful piece of evidence because Santa just told us it wasn't evidence because they can't put him there at all. Is Coffin Gagger drunk? She looks odd. Now they have the white Hyundai Elantra driving all weird in between the apartments and stuff like that. They can't say he was surveilling because that was even something that made no sense. The judge tried to say in the order, again, the Moscow traffic stop was used for proof of premeditation and surveilling and blah, 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 blah. And the state was like, no, it's for identification purposes only. His name, his address, his car, his phone number, that's it. And because of the special rule for, I think it was the 404, I think that's the rule. They had to specify what they were using it for, and they could only use it for those purposes. So they put it in there for identification purposes, and the judge was like, oh, we're going to prove that it was for surveilling and stalking and premeditation. No, that's not what was said. That's not what was said. Now they're pulling the whole stargazing thing, saying that he was at the park, saying he was there at 4:00, staring at the stars. Do they even really say that? I don't remember them actually stating that he went out there staring at the stars. I could have sworn it was just like he went driving that direction by himself. And this is also normal according to his dad said. Driving at night was normal. Thank you for the $2, Jules. Santa, I love you. Yeah, he is, you know, I think he drinks a lot. His face is constantly red, like he's got alcohol issues. He obviously is friends with shady ass people. I don't know anybody who could just get away with being like, yeah, I'm friends with this person. And you have a record the way that you have a record. And you're doing things the way that you're doing things. Like, there's no way that Santa didn't instantly see this body cam coming out and been like, oh shit. Oh shit. Like, I really wonder if she was going to be like their little secret weapon that they were pretending to have. And then it just came out to not work. Ooh, I swear, we better get some information on her. For real. Yeah, there was no service out there. And that's the crazy thing too. The only story that has stayed consistent is the defense's story. Everything else when it comes to the state has changed. Gone back and forth. See, this part of the 9:00 thing where they say that he like went back over there, they can't prove that either. The pinging thing doesn't matter. We've already proved that. Now, they tried to say, and I've had some people in the comments say this, that they have like him at the ATM in Moscow. I don't remember there ever being a location for the ATM. I remember them saying there was ATM. I don't remember them claiming they had the location. It's not the one. I want to see if I can find it. Because I could have sworn that I looked at this already and there was no location at all for the ATM that he actually went to that morning. And I know that whenever I looked up the bank information itself, I'm trying to remember which one it was, there were several ATMs. Washington Trust Bank. Okay, let me see. Costco, USF Store, Washington Trust Bank records and images for Bryan Kohberger. So there's nothing here on this one when it comes to specifics. Maybe it's make and model. I know that it's in here somewhere because they do have like a list of addresses and stuff. Oh, I'm not even showing it. I wanted to show it. So yeah, this is the one that I'm looking at where it says Washington State Bank. Let's see. Is it this one? No. No, that's only 3 pages. The one I'm looking for is like hella long. 51 pages. Maybe this is it. Yeah, I know they have some maps and stuff, but I want to see if they actually have the location of the ATM because I could be wrong. Okay, so that's 12 something. That's still 12. That's whenever he gets to Clarkston. Okay, this is okay. So they actually don't have proof that he actually like went there, I guess. because it's not saying that they actually have him there. At 9:12:59 a.m. at 1311 South Main Street in Moscow, it says a vehicle matching the description of a vehicle 1 was seen traveling southbound on 95. But that's it. It goes from 9:12, almost 9:13 in the morning, saying that a vehicle matching his description was seen southbound on 95, but it doesn't give a location for the ATM. It goes straight to 12:34, where it talks about him being in Clarkston, Washington. And before 9:13, it talks about the vehicle going onto Northeast Orchard at 5:30, like when the car was apparently coming back to his apartments. It does not give a location of an ATM in the 9 o'clock hour here. I sure don't see it. And again, we're looking at the Washington bank records here. Let's see what this one says down here again. Everyone tried to say, oh, it was true that he was at an ATM, and there's truth, and there's some sort of address thing. I've yet to see it. I don't want that one, or that one, or that one. This is going to be, okay, yeah, this is the car one. I want the self-authenticating stuff now. Again. Because look, I'll even pull the map up and show you what I'm talking about. There's like 3 that he could have gone to. Washington Bank and Trust, right? In Moscow, Idaho. Maps. I'll share the map in just a second, guys. Okay. So, if you look at the area where all of the Washington Trust banks are, like, there's a lot. There's a lot. Like a crap ton. Let's see. Trying to see where I'm at here. Hold on. Let me fix this. I need to make sure that it's... Hold on. Let me press play.
What's going on?
Okay. I need it to show me Moscow, not just like any random one in the whole state. Woo! That's way down there. Okay. And now search it again. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. Oh, shit. Hold on. It's not working. Hold on. Oh, this stupid thing. Okay, yes. Search this area. Show me all 3. Okay. Okay, so we have a Washington Trust Bank in Pullman, right here, that actually is like close to like the Johnson Road area and Bishop, where they tried to say the car was before. Then we have one all the way over here, which the reason why certain channels are putting things together without facts and naming things as things that aren't really real is because this one right here is close to Highway 95. And then we have one down here in Clarkston or whatever it was that he went to. Or in Lewiston. Then there's one down here in Lewiston. Now, it's probably not going to be the one down here because they're trying to say that it was like earlier. But they're only saying there was a car on Highway 95. They're not saying the address of the ATM. We know that he apparently went to an ATM, but he could have gone to this ATM in Pullman before then going south to all the places that he went whenever he got across Snake River. Because we don't really know. We don't really know. But we don't have proof that there was an ATM stop in Moscow that morning. Literally at all. Oh, Joe Scott. Talking about food. Now they're going to bring up Mad Greek, which is such a crap. There was nothing about Mad Greek in the evidence. At all. The selfie. Oh, this, okay. Damn if they didn't doctor the crap out this selfie. Okay, this is actually kind of strange. Oh, this is odd. Okay. I'm going to show y'all this. This selfie looks creepy. Not like creepy, like he doesn't look any creepier than they already like made him look, but it's creepy how drastic this is. I didn't know Bryan Kohberger had freckles on his face. I'm waiting for it to pop back up. I'm going to show you. He looks so, okay. He looks so drowned out in that damn photo. Okay. You know what? Let me put it, I'm going to put it up here first. I'm going to show y'all. Damn, it's drastic. Holy crap. Damn. People said it was drastic. I didn't realize how drastic it was. I have to show y'all this. Let me see if I can find it. Where's the selfie that they put into the paperwork? I guess I'm gonna have to type in selfie. Okay. Jeez. Okay. That's crazy. Okay. Can I get this bigger? Y'all are gonna like be like, holy crap. Okay. This is the photo that we have in the files. This is the photo that was released from the state. Do you see how he's the same color as his walls? You ready? You ready?
Court papers say the selfie was taken in a back.
Home dude has some red little freckles on his face. Looks like he has the 5 o'clock shadow literally on his entire face. He has a little bit of a mustache hanging out here. This is a completely different color theme. I'm going to mute this so I can actually like let y'all see this. Tell me that's not completely different. Come on, get back to the photo. Get back to the photo. I hate this thing. They lightened him up in this photo to give his eyebrows more prominence than there really is. This is what he's supposed to look like. Apparently. His skin is darker. His freckles are showing. He has like, he needs to shave again. He doesn't look anywhere near as disgustingly sick as he looks in this photo. He looks like he has malnutrition problems here. He looks like he is not healthy in this photo. Huh. Yeah, and look here. The shower curtain is a bunch right here. And over here, they took a bunch of the shower curtain out. Now, in the photo that the state has, there is a little sliver of the shower curtain, like on the very edge. I pointed out and put like an arrow to where you can definitely see it. But they literally whitewashed the ever-loving shit out of him. Like you can see if you really pay attention here that there's supposed to be some 5 o'clock shadow. This is what he apparently looked like that day. Not this sickly person. What? Look how dramatically drastic that is. He has like freckles and stuff. His whole face. He's got freckles all over his entire face. I am astonished by how drastic that damn photo is different. I am so shook. I am shook by the difference. I cannot wait to post the difference. Holy shit. That's wild. Now, actually, what's interesting, I'll show y'all here. This photo that's not doctored, if I can get it to play right, it does honestly look like he has a bruise on his hand, which doesn't mean anything because I get bruised up all the damn time. Like all the time. Like I wake up with bruises and I don't understand how the frick I have them because I sleep by myself. But let me show you. Let it play.
In downtown.
You can kind of see there's like a little bitty bit of a bruise if it'll play right. Oh, come on. I need the dark stuff to go away. Play. See, okay. Oh, I did it again. But do you see his hand? Oh, okay. See his hand? I can't pause it. I'll pause it now. His hand, like right here, it does look like it has a little bit of a bruise. It's his non-dominant hand. No, is he left-handed or is he right-handed? Honestly, I don't remember. But it's this hand, and there is a small bruise right here. But my point is this. Why would you drown all of that out? Like, now that you can see it in the other photo, you can kind of see it a little bit on this one, but that still doesn't really mean a lot to me. I get bruises all the time, and it's nothing. There's nothing on his face or anything else like that. But why would you change it so drastically? Why would you change it so drastically? Thank you for the $10, Heron. If you have an even passing association with Photoshop, you can't take this seriously. And even beyond that, stills do not accurately reflect what people actually look like. I mean, I know, but it's just crazy like how much they changed it. They took every piece of color out of everything, but then went in and darkened his eyebrows and darkened his hair. What is the point of lying? Why couldn't they just give us the damn photo for the photo? Like, why couldn't they just show us the real photo? I don't understand the stupidity, but okay, let's continue. Wild. Yeah, he's got like freckles and some color to his face. Now, what is interesting though, he's got some dark shit around his eyes. Like, look in here in this portion of his face, and it looks like really dark.
Court papers say the selfie
Could
was
be
taken
from no
in
sleep.
a bathroom just 6 hours.
Come on, take
after
that part
the
off of
slaughter.
there. I hate this.
There's
See?
speculation that he had just
It's gonna get closer in a
showered to
second.
remove potential.
See how it gets dark. He has like right here, there's like some bruising in his eye, which is interesting. Now I gotta listen to this again. Surgically carried out. I'm sorry, there was nothing surgical about anything because apparently none of the wounds matched and everything looked a mess. And now they're jumping back to DeSales. Why do they keep hopping back and forth so much? The timeline's really hard to follow whenever they keep jumping back and forth. Here comes Ramslin. She's got a bunch of books. She's so brilliant, but she sits there and says, thinking back, nothing gives me pause. And then 5 seconds later, thinking back, I have a lot of questions. Which one? Were you fooled or were you not fooled? I'm confused. Her book's going to be interesting because how much of it is going to be insanity? He's still on this whole Bryan idolizes Ramslin and wanted to do this to get her attention. How many times does she have to come out? It doesn't matter what she's saying about what she wants to do or what she thinks, but how many times does she have to come out and be like, no, there's no proof of this. There's no communication like that. No. And he's still out here pushing it. That's just insane. Here we go about crime scene processing. Yeah, because that's the job. Kohberger gives step-by-step instructions for how to collect evidence and document the scene because that's what the assignment was. And actually, that group project that they're talking about the surveys for, they're showing a picture that doesn't have anything to do with the assignment they're talking about. The picture that they're showing is him in the black shirt. We were told from the guy that was with the group project that he took this picture of Bryan. And it was the group project for the survey where they put a bunch of questions together. Was that the right one? Is that what the guy worked on with? There was a group project that the guy said he worked with Bryan Kohberger with, and I don't remember that the crime scene one was a group project, but the survey one was a group project. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that guy's interview because I might be wrong on what the project was. But I remember whatever he said is that Bryan was not part of the original group. Bryan came in like at the end of the group already being together. So not only was it a group project, but it wasn't even a group project that he was like really wanting to be a part of. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're gonna have to go back and listen to all the friend stuff. See, they kind of went back. They went back and forth. They went from he created this paper about cleaning up a scene to now it's all into the criminal emotions of what they do, everything, and they never even talked about the survey. What a weird segue. Okay, it's like they're trying to put them together. That's wild. As a retired FBI agent. Shut up, coughing hacker. Annoying. Why's her hair so big? The perfect candidate to commit a crime like this? Strange wording there, coughing hacker. It's fall semester 2022. Okay. So much back and forth. I cannot stand wherever they do this. We're here and then we go back. Okay, now we're going to the girl who said that she was too scared to talk. He was smart, but people considered him a harsh grader, especially towards women, which is not true because men said the same exact thing. Women said he was sexist and disrespectful. That's not true either. The people that came out with issues with Bryan were people that he wasn't babying, is what it sounds like. People that he would ask him questions, and it would be questions that he knew they shouldn't be asking if they were paying attention to the assignment. He wasn't babying people. He wasn't being lenient just because you were cute, and that's the stuff that they didn't like. Because even the guys were like, no, he harshly graded everyone. He expected perfection from all of his students, not just the girls. All these lies. That's what I was told. See, she literally just mentioned exactly what I just said. A girl walked up and asked him for help with an assignment, and he basically blew her off, ignored her. He was rude, not professional, or was he too professional? And so she left and didn't come back. Was that BK Norton? I know that female students complained to the professor about Bryan. Well, he was found to have done nothing wrong according to the investigation. So that's why I really question, are these girls that were used to getting away with things because of them being associated with Greek row or having certain relationships with certain teachers they probably shouldn't have had, or because they're really cute and so they always get everything done for them? He didn't give into that because it was men too that he also graded very harshly and expected perfection from. And I don't see how he could be, all these things to all these people whenever we've heard interviews of girls that were in his class that sounded like they had crushes on him, talking about how he would stand there in his khaki pants and she literally is talking with like a smile in her voice. But then we have a complete 180. So I'm not the same with everybody that I'm around. You get I will match energy with you. So if you're getting a certain version of me that you find offensive, it's probably because you deserve it. It's probably because the energy is coming back to you. You've done something stupid. And now I'm just reciprocating the way you've already kind of came at me. So if someone is constantly wanting help and not paying attention and trying to get you to answer all these questions and do stuff for them, eventually you probably get tired of it. So him not catering to some girl's stupid question and her getting all butt hurt because she didn't get her way when he acts like this with everyone, how am I supposed to even care about that story? What does that tell me? Nothing. Now talking about him and the professor issue. I mean, and again, he's not having issues with a female professor. He's having problems with a male professor. Something a lot of people like skip over. So his TA position was being threatened, which we already knew that. But honestly, like, them coming out and saying that in all of the investigation, he was found to have done nothing wrong goes with everything that we've already been told and have been proving with the documents that are out here right now that he was not fired prior to his arrest. You don't have to send admonishment papers and trespassing papers and get permission to walk into an apartment-owned apartment if the person who is in the apartment is no longer supposed to be there because they've been fired, lost their jobs, lost their ability to be a student, all the things. If he were to actually lose his TA position, he would not be able to afford to continue going to school, according to what they're claiming. So again, if the investigation proved that he did nothing wrong, if he was grading papers while he was in Pennsylvania at his parents' house, and we have admonishment papers and him having to give them permission to go into their own property to get things that belong to him out of there, to get the keys, all the things, how does that add up? You can't get fired if you're found to have done nothing wrong. If you have an entire investigation and at the end of the day, you're innocent of all the things that you've been accused of, you don't then lose your job. That's the literal opposite of what happens in those situations. So anything, this just goes along with everything we've already been told. That too. Now, girls, I've heard this part before. They're saying that Bryan apparently followed some girl to a car. Was it in town or was it at the school? Following a student in his class back to her car. She was creeped out by this experience. She reports it. They're showing a random girl walking down like Main Street, Moscow, while saying this, trying to make it sound as if he was following somebody in Moscow that's a student of his to her vehicle. And that's not the story that's being said, nor the story that's been ever told. This was like in the school parking lot, if I can remember correctly. And they're visualizing it as if he's following a girl down downtown Moscow because it's got all the Christmas lights and stuff like they were trying to tell us they do for Christmas. I don't know. Great question. Probably, honestly. Because he was found to have done nothing wrong. See, that doesn't make sense. Everything they're trying to say isn't making any sense. Alleged. I mean, I'm sure that, like, if it actually, well, I can't say alleged, honestly, because according to Ann Taylor, according to the information that came out in court, there was an investigation. He was found to have done nothing wrong. And it was this BK Norton chick. She just seemed to, like, have it out for him for some reason. Because she is, like, the ringleader of this entire situation with no proof of anything. Like, none of those people have ever come out with any proof of anything that they've said. Even this, like, Brian tally crap that Steve Goncalves kept going around and claiming, where's the tally? Shouldn't this be, like, a physical thing that people are actually keeping track of? Or are they just, like, doing it in their brains and we're supposed to trust it? Just a lot of dumb shit. This virgin character that couldn't connect with people and freaked people out. This dude had a woman wanting to be with him that he turned down, that then basically, in my opinion, faked a break-in order to get him to come and spend the night at her apartment after the fact. What? They could at least not tell us about all the women who like him, all the women he got numbers of and all these other things while trying to say that he's some sort of virgin incel psychopath. Because that's not the story they're actually telling whenever they're telling their story. And it's very confusing. Here's the Tinder date chick. No one has ever been able to point me in the direction of any news station or anyone else that validated and verified this woman actually matched with Bryan Kohberger on Tinder. She's out here saying all this stuff, and no one has approved, no one has verified this. Does anybody know where it is? Yes, birth and hips. Does anybody know where the proof of this is? They just like took her word for it, and no one ever showed anything that showed a connection on the app or anything like that. Hey, philosopher, how you doing? So I don't know why she was given 15 minutes of fame. I know. But no one's validated anything. And if she would come forward and somehow magically have the Tinder connection, then that'd be great. You know, with timestamps. Because they didn't just like match and then meet up somewhere. They had a conversation before they planned to meet up and go on a date. So where is it? Where is it with the timestamps with the date and the time on it? I mean, I'm sure that's how Tinder works. So where is it? Here she is. Trying to tickle me and touch me and all kinds of stuff. And she's like, why are you touching me? Well, because y'all are on a date and he probably thinks that you like him. You invited him into your apartment and let him sit with you on the couch. He probably thinks you like him. Because that's kind of where it's pointing at this point. Kind of like trying to gaslight me into thinking that he wasn't trying to tickle me or touch me. I don't like you. See through bullshit. And then he followed me to the bathroom. Where's the proof of any of this? Pretended to throw up to get him to leave. I don't believe any of this story. Again, where is the proof of the Tinder connection? Where is the conversations? Where is the proof? They just let anyone come out and say anything, don't they? See, here's like, okay, here's a text message that they are showing us, but it's not like proof that it was from him. Now, the neighbor that had conversations between Bryan and him, like you could see who was green, who was blue. Like you could tell it was a truth conversation.
Where he
and look, like
said,
this is all this
Thanks
is.
for the date. I had a wonderful time. And
that doesn't tell me anything. That doesn't tell me anything at all. Insane. Oh. I disappeared for a second. Okay, well, prove that he, like... Hey, Seema. Kind of makes you think he doesn't know how to act around women. Okay. Now, here comes another one that there's no proof of. Okay. They're talking about a brewery that he attended, apparently, whenever he went to DeSales. The guy comes out, gives an interview, and says, oh, yeah, I had to, like, get in this guy's face, basically, and tell him that he's not going to act like that here. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Where's the proof? Show me where you actually took a picture of his ID and made a point to, like, let people know that he's not allowed in here, like you're saying. Because wouldn't you still have it? Like, this all was very recent. Wouldn't you still have a note of something somewhere? None of this has been also validated. And whenever this person, I've read a million articles so far on like this whole brewery thing. All of them say that whenever somebody else reached out to this owner person to validate the story, no comment was given. And he hasn't said anything since. So how true is this story? You're not proving that you actually took a picture of his ID and kept it behind the damn counter so that people knew not to serve him and that he had to leave. Where is the proof? Makes no sense. Creepy comments about where they might live or what shifts they were working. I don't know, maybe because he liked them and wanted to get to know them and it was just like small talk? Those are some like normal questions, honestly. Like, I really doubt he's asking for the freaking actual address. But to like wonder if they're like a local or live in another town because maybe he wants to ask them on a date or something like that, I don't see the problem. None of this stuff sounds creepy to me. And again, there's no proof of nothing. This guy has been asked and he will not give a comment. One woman said that he called her the B word. Oh no, my tiny heart. Where's the ID? And why won't the owner make a statement? Because he's being asked to verify the story. And he can't. A lot of traits of an incel. But again, had a whole woman wanting to be with him that lived in the apartment complex, was getting a chick's number where she literally handed him her phone and then immediately called him afterwards to validate that it's the right number. Then he goes off and tries to get like two people's numbers from the pool and gets them. Incel where? Not my type, but incel where? Incel where? I'm not understanding. He was somebody who led the life that was rejected by women. Prove it, broski. I don't understand. He wasn't. We already had that discussion. God, Maddie looks just like her mama. Like they literally just went copy paste. Been who? Wild. Right, that was the pool party. July 9th was the pool party, and not the same pool party, regardless of what some people tried to pretend. Steve Goncalves already told us, not us directly, but in the messages between him and Brett Norton, they had a conversation about the pool party, and I actually did an entire video on it because Reverend Donna Serafina and her psychic stuff said something about a pool party, and then the pool party information came out about the one that Bryan did go to where he got the Holly girls information and the other two girls' numbers and met the Indian guy that's a DJ and all the stuff in the neighbor, right? July 9th was the date of that pool party in Moscow. But according to Steve, he already knew for a fact 2.5 years ago, 2 years ago, this was not the same pool party that Kaylee went to that people were talking about. A different day. I think they were like 2 or 3 days apart from each other. One of them was inside and one of them was outside. They were not at the same location. So you're right. July 9th was not a stalking visit, just like none of the rest of them were stalking visits. That was the pool party. Yeah, that was the pool party. We don't know why these individuals were taken. Why would Bryan hone in on these 4 people? Yeah, best question. Okay, back in Moscow, I guess. Why do I have hiccups? Coffee giving me hiccups. Okay, so then they're talking about who was everyone talking to? Was Bryan following them? They already said no. Now they're talking about Kaylee and Maddie being at the corner club. What did you tell Adam? How do they come out and give us such a perfect timeline with the perfect plot lead up and then leave us with no answers? What did you tell Adam? They're going to get you for that, Maddie. And it's so hard because honestly, I don't really think my theory, my brain goes to the secrecy between Xana and Ethan and Bethany's timelines, especially when it comes to Ethan and Xana. But I also just can't let go of what did you tell Adam and they're going to get you, Maddie. I just can't find anything that connects those two things. But I also don't know details, and anyone out here claiming that they know details is a damn liar. That part. Yeah. Scary coincidence. I wonder how good their pasta actually is. Maybe one day I'll go to Moscow. It's an expensive ass trip. They were so intoxicated. And intensely. Like she's halfway hunchbacked over because she's so intoxicated she can barely see straight with her phone in her face. I would love to know. Precisely. I watched some of it because I was having conversations with I think her channel name is Warning Label Nina, Nena, because she had told me that the girl was over there talking about the seating chart. So I ran over there to see because I was trying to get confirmation that Dylan and Bethany were actually like a part of something, and I'd ask a question and she was just like, hey, this girl's over there talking about the seating chart and it has Dylan and Bethany's names on the seating chart. So I went over there and listened to it for a little bit before I went started here. I heard some of it. Like I said in the beginning of this, the way that she described Dylan sitting there and like grabbing her ears and looking to the wall and making all these noises. And I'm just like, what? What? And then Bethany was sitting with the Chapins, which is odd because of everything I just said a second ago. I still have some more of it to listen to, but she was really just out there trying to promote how important she is to this case. Talk about the book that she's going to be writing and how she's part of the Amazon series and all these things. She's just like the leader of some Facebook group that's let her ego go to her brain. Because the majority of it was just that. It was like self-promotion for everything that she's been involved in. But a lot of the facts that she came out and said is absolutely incorrect. Like she came out and just said like a whole bunch of crap. And I'm like, you don't even pay attention to the case facts and you're writing a book and acting like you know everything. Have you ever read a document? Because it doesn't sound like you've done anything but listen to like whatever's on Facebook. Wild. People are wild. Pasta by the bucket. Sounds delicious. That part. And also sitting there running your mouth about how Bryan's sister is apparently going to write a book while you're sitting there saying that you're going to write a book. But how dare she? But I can. What? People are crazy. People are crazy. Longer than that. Pretty sure it was longer than that. Mm-hmm. A car service? Can we actually like say who it was, considering the fact that Dylan had this guy's phone number in her phone? We're not going to call it a car service. We're going to call him Eric, is what we're going to do here on this channel. Jesus Christ. He too is cleared. Probably because his wife works for the police department. He should have never been cleared. There was conversations after he dropped off the girls. And this is the timeline that the cops didn't even want to actually have out there correctly. Again, the Goncalveses had to come out and be like, they did not get home at 1:45. This is the damn timestamp. They should have just like not even cared anything about what Moscow had to say from then on and known everything was bullshit. Yeah, he did not stalk them. There's no connection between the people in the house and Mr. Kohberger based on cell phones, based on social media. This was just in January 2025. They just played a piece of the hearing. This is something that is so perplexing. You would imagine that he would want to stalk in that way. I love how they're coming out and literally naming everything wrong with the case while still trying to act as if this is some sort of evidence against him. They're literally claiming, again, in here, nothing on social media. You'd think he would want to stalk them that way, but no, he didn't do that, meaning the Goncalveses have been lying the entire time, which is what we've already known. Yeah. She's got to be drunk. Coffin Gagger can barely keep her eyes open when she's talking to this camera. And her tan looks like it's really fake. Like she really tried to just do herself up. I'm pretty positive she's even in a wig because it's like long and like thick. Okay, now they're talking about Mad Greek. Maddie worked there. And then Xana. They were both servers. Served lamb. A quasi-vegan menu? I'm sorry? One vegan dish. We looked up the Mad Greek menu whenever this first started. There was one vegan pizza or some shit like that. It is nowhere near quasi-vegan. Boy, Howie Bloom Blum, whatever, needs to get it together. Speculation. It is. I love lamb. Love it. There might have been a correlation between him and Maddie and maybe even Xana. We just don't know. Stop the shit, bro. There's literally nothing at all in the self-authenticating records or in any of the evidence that was added to the public list regarding the Mad Greek. No transactions from the Mad Greek, no security cameras showing that he was there, nothing. So they can just stop with that because we already have seen the things that they were going to have as evidence and there was nothing in there. So they can quit. The police can't connect the victims to Bryan Kohberger. They're going to have to find a way to link him to the crime scene. Now, here comes the bullshit DNA on the snap. Are they going to do something? Are they going to tell the truth? When are they going to finally tell us that Brett Payne no longer works for the police department? I'd love to know whenever that's going to finally come out. Oh, now they got a crazy science guy doing something. Okay, Idahoan DNA expert person named Greg Hampikakin. Been involved with a lot of cases, but not this case. Okay, he's showing epithelials on the screen. Indirect transfer or touch transfer. Yeah. Touch transfer that's not actually touch or contact. Okay, so the other's showing like a swabbing situation. DNA residue. All that means is we found a little bit of DNA. In the inside of the button. Partial DNA. No, you can't say it was a deposit from a skin cell because they've never told us that, Joe Scott. You know better. I'm shedding thousands of cells just during this interview. Yeah. You go to Walmart, you leave with like 20 different people's DNA on you, especially if you touch stuff. He said, I touched things years ago. My DNA can still be on them. Like if you, okay, just think about this for a second. Okay. Say you walk into Dutch Bros, because Starbucks can kiss my fat ass. So you walk up to the window at a Dutch Bros, or you go to like the drive-thru at a Dutch Bros and you order a coffee, okay? You go up to the window, they hand you the cup. So now you have the DNA of the person who handed you the cup, which is 9 times out of 10 not the same person who created your coffee. So instantly you've got the creator and the person who handed it to you at the window, their DNA on that cup that you just grabbed from them. Not only do you have those two people's DNA, but let's just say person number 1 lives at home with her husband and her 2 kids. Now you have her husband's DNA on you and her 2 kids' DNA on you too. So let's just hope that nothing happens to you anytime in the recent future, because the lady at the window and her husband's DNA might be at the crime scene. And they don't even know who you are. Yeah, you breathe in people's DNA. Your lungs filter people's DNA every single time you take a breath. Humans are gross. Humans are nasty. I'm glad he's explaining it like legitimately. No, that's not always true either. It depends on what portion of it they actually pull out. It's imperfect. They also had to clone it because it was such a small amount. You never get that. You'll always get it anyway. Literal cooties. Yes, it has led to plenty of false convictions in the past. Of course it was found on the button. But prove to us that it was a USMC logo sheath that was on his Amazon order. He had a perfect opportunity to stand up and be like, that matched the logo found on the one at the scene, and they didn't do it. Hey, Nurse Meg. Yep, no hits and codas. Don't know whose DNA it is. Yeah, no return on the DNA. Reprocess it for genealogy. Oh, they actually brought up the genealogy. Surprise, surprise. It only became a single source after they cloned it to even get to the single source to begin with. They didn't know what it was at first. No, the original Amazon order, whenever they said that he ordered the knife sheath and the knife and the sharpener in March, they could have said right then and there that it had the logo that was later found at the one at the scene, and they didn't do it. They haven't listed anything that says that he bought anything with that logo on it, and they had a perfect opportunity to do so. Nothing. Okay, ISP sent DNA sample to FBI crime lab at Quantico. We're skipping all the way over Othram. They literally just skipped all the way past Othram and never said shit about it going to Othram. It went straight to FBI crime lab. That didn't happen until December the 10th. Othram had it for a week before that. Did a whole bunch of stuff. Found 4 brothers that had a distant connection. One of them was contacted. They said, I'm not helping you do shit. I can't believe they're just going to skip right over Othram. The grandparents, I don't remember them mentioning the grandparents at all. It just, Howie Bloomblum, whatever, just said that the FBI at Quantico found Brian's grandparents and that led to Brian. That's not what we were told at all. Whew! Actually, no, we've talked about it plenty of time. I'm not making excuses for anything. Why are you even still here? Why are you still green if you have an issue with everything that I say? Because you don't have to be here. And no, I'm not ignoring anything. We've talked about this. They didn't have anything the first time around. That's been proven. Then they did all kinds of cloning shit to the DNA sample and then suddenly came across the single source DNA, which we've discussed with you here in full and in very much detail. So tell me again what the frick I'm actually ignoring. Doesn't sound like I'm ignoring it. Ignorance. Get you kicked out. I don't care how green you are. Idiotic. Okay, so here comes this person again who's like too scared to talk. We continued classes like nothing happened. Bryan still showed up to class. Beforehand. You're not explaining anything. You're saying that I'm ignoring something that I'm not ignoring. How the hell is that you explaining anything? Try again. Gaslight someone else. He had his hair done. Okay, we knew he had a haircut. Less time put into his appearance. He started writing paragraphs about how good the work was. Yeah, because he was told to stop grading so hard, so he did. He was trying to make himself seem nicer. He was told by this professor that he was too rough on everyone, so he listens and starts being nicer, and suddenly it's an issue. That doesn't make any sense. He did what he was told, and he's getting targeted for it, but still getting into arguments with the professor, not with the students. Probably because he didn't want to sit there and baby a bunch of adults, but he was being made to baby a bunch of adults. That's probably why he was getting frustrated. Not even the defense, which this person knows that, so I don't know why they're out here running it up. December 10th, 2022. Yeah, this is whenever Othram sent the stuff back and everything got sent to the FBI. And this is whenever they're saying that Bryan's dad got there. Now, Drunk Turkey and that chick, they have some sort of flight information that they were showing, and they're trying to say that it's not the 10th, that it was a different date now. I don't remember exactly what they said. I have to go back and listen to it. This pair of Kohbergers hit Indiana. Yeah, the two traffic stops are strange. They're very odd. They're showing the traffic stop from 10:43 on the 15th. See, I've actually always questioned like what date they actually did leave. Because we had the 12:15 traffic stop, but like we've basically been told that they left anywhere between like the 10th and the 13th. But if they left on the 10th, then a whole 5 days later they wouldn't have just been in Indiana. So that doesn't make sense. I don't think they left on the 10th. Yeah, even Joe Scott's like, those stops are sus. I believe so too. Because on the 16th, they were someone saw him coming in and out of a CVS in Pennsylvania. We've pretty much already assumed that it was the feds. I gave you over 31 names of people that did just that and 4 murders. Not just for robberies or doing something stupid and petty like a misdemeanor. No, these people pled guilty. A group of 4 people actually pled guilty against the one person that's kept their sane mind and said, we didn't do this. Y'all are absolutely ridiculous. Turns out the one guy was the right one. And the 4 people were coerced into admitting to murders that they did not commit. They were later exonerated and the right person was arrested and they spent 30-something years in prison for something that they didn't do. I gave you 31 names of people who did this back in 2009. It's been almost another 20 years. That list has gotten longer. What did you learn at this hearing? Anything new? Anything new? No. So don't sit here and say, you're not going to do that unless you're actually guilty. You need to learn Google. And no appeal doesn't mean no appeal either, which is something that we here on this channel know because we do research and listen to lawyers who actually know what they're talking about. Try it. You'll learn a lot. Learn a lot. I answered that question. Here comes the feds are in the neighborhood. Pennsylvania State Police are surveilling the home undetected, but they haven't shown us any proof of that. I mean, I'm sure that they were, but no videos, no reports. See this trash story again. They're showing somebody sneaking up, walking up to a trash can, taking trash and running off like Sniper No Swiping or whatever the frick his name is from Dora the Explorer. Okay, that's not the story that we were told in court. We were told that it was a regular trash truck that went in because they couldn't make it sound as if it was anything other than what it was, a normal trash day. That's how the court has told the story. So I don't know why they keep doing these dramatic scenes where like a person is all creepy, like walking up to the trash can. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Yeah, Swiper No Swiping. It's not even real. And see, this is the kind of stupidity that I'm just going to block you. No, you're an actual ignorant fool who doesn't listen to anything. I've literally asked for one piece. Do you have that one piece? Because I'm waiting for you to say what the one piece is that has you so convicted while you're over here running your mouth with no actual facts. Like you're not even saying anything at all. Literally at all. You're ignorant as hell. Therefore, you get to go. Okay, goodbye. Now they're talking about going in and getting more trash. They didn't do it twice. They didn't do it twice. Thank you for the $10, Heron. So essentially, we just said we have no awareness of what the word patsy means and no awareness of what plea bargaining actually means because if someone confesses, that's the end of it. See, and that's the crazy part. He didn't confess. He said yes, 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 and yes with no details, no confessions. He did not give any confession, not even written. They could have at least had him do a written confession with all of the details the way that we normally see them do in interrogations and interviews. Whenever finally somebody says, okay, I did it. Well, then they hand them a piece of paper and a pen and say, okay, tell me how, write it down. We didn't get none of that. It's amazing how stupid people can be. It really is. Yes. If he stands up and gives us a scenario, if from his own face, if they give us information that puts all of this together, that's where this channel is going to go because we follow the facts. But until the facts show otherwise, prove something actually happened here that should change my mind. Prove that I should go back into thinking that the state has all the answers when all they did was come out here and word vomit the same piece of shit damn report they already told us was no longer relevant. The simple fact that he's on record saying that should have ixnayed anything that he did in that damn hearing. Tell me something that we learned. Make me change my mind. Okay, get to the point. Yeah, but they can't even use the DNA perspective. They can't use it. That's what's so wild to me. Like this whole DNA, the entire scenario with the DNA is the only way they even got to this person. Moscow had an entirely different lead suspect until they got that call. And they had DNA work in the work for the unknown DNA while this information was coming into them. And they just threw it all away. Threw it all away. Who puts garbage out with rubber gloves on and separates garbage? Literally anyone that lives in an area with bears. You know how many people said that this is so normal? You know how many people take their trash out with gloves on because they don't like touching that nasty stuff? Lots of people. So he's had this as sort of obsessive compulsive behavior with hand washing and being really, really clean. But him doing something that's normal is what we're targeting right now? No, that doesn't even make any sense. This is too much. None of this even makes any sense. A lot of people do. Yep, OCD as hell. Now here comes the failed chief that couldn't make sheriff and now works for Washington. Here's Olivia. Yeah, she did. She went straight to the apartment complex. Not Olivia, the sister of Chronicles of Olivia. They still keep showing the inn building, and he didn't live in the inn building. Wow. So they're trying to block out where he lived because even in this video of Chronicles of Olivia's that's still very much on her YouTube page, they're showing a portion of it. And whenever it's showing the front of the apartment building, they're showing like the dash numbers, but the G, they're blurring out. Everyone knows that that's the building that he lived in. Why are they blurring that out? Wow, they really just like don't want us to see the G right there. What? No DNA or blood in his car, at his apartment, at his parents' house, nothing connecting him with the four individuals. Literally. Literally. December 30th, 2022 to December 28th, 2023. Oh, yeah, where they destroy the house. The university president thought that he would get rid of the aura that's hanging over the campus. This was not a campus house. The owner of the home apparently gifted it to the university just so that the university could destroy it, even though this was an off-campus house where every single person in there had their own leases for the individual rooms that they were renting and shared money to pay the utilities. Stupid. That part too. I don't know what I don't know what I really tired to see your side. You're not even like, you're ignorant. You have no actual proof of anything. Yeah. It went down like nothing. Like it was built out of toothpicks. They should have never gotten rid of that damn house. Oh, there's Judge Judge. I wonder what Judge is thinking right now. I wonder if he like found out like through an email, like did somebody give him a heads up to be like, hey, guess what happened, bro? Or do you think he found out on the news like everyone else? Because he's retired now. Old Judge. Yep, then it got moved. And see, like, I really did believe their reasoning for a change of venue, but then the sheriff's vote happened. In Moscow, the people of Latell County did not elect Chief Fry as their sheriff. And that right there spoke everything that I needed to know at that point. I really wish we would have figured that out beforehand. Or did it happen before? Did it happen before the change of venue was requested? I'll have to go back and look at the dates. It really seemed like it was the right move at the time, but then they didn't elect Chief Fry as their sheriff. And to me, if they felt satisfied, if they felt like Chief Fry working for the Moscow Police Department actually was worth a damn when it came to this hightail investigation, they would have voted him in as sheriff, and they didn't. That told me everything that I needed to know. He sounded like he could have been any other kid on campus to me. Yeah. Did we see Olivia there with Steve Jr.? I saw him walking up with Christy and Olivia, the sister, but I didn't see Olivia, Chronicles of Olivia with Steve Jr. in Washington. Brett Payne now works for the University of Idaho, and Chief Fry is now some officer over in Washington somewhere. She was there? No, you can't say that the vehicle matches because they're not being honest about the vehicle. The cell phone pings, and it could ping there even without him being there, and Santa said, we cannot prove that he was at 1122 King Road at all. Dylan provided a description of artwork on her wall and the girl she saw laying on the floor. The only thing they have is the DNA on the sheath. Now we go to Amazon tracking purchases. Uh-huh. Yeah, we know about the Amazon stuff. But it's a shared account that everybody in the family and everyone in the home has access to. Y'all are all going to yawn now. This highlights the problem with DNA analysis and investigation. Transfer of DNA could have happened elsewhere. Sure could have. Because remember, and I still have to go back and find the damn document. I still have to go back and find it. I should have just like wrote it down somewhere, which I probably did. I've got like 20,000 freaking binders over here. Judge wrote in his own handwriting on one of the documents that the court has issues with either chain of custody or chain of command. One of those. And then we found out in a closed session in January from one of the scientist guys that a Boise cop and him took the, I guess, swab, or maybe it was the sheath itself. I can't remember off the top of my head. We're going to have to go back to the transcripts. But they took it down to Othram, and instead of the scientist guy being the one to carry the sample, the Boise cop is the one who had it the entire time. And that's odd to me that, A, you didn't fly down there. It sounds like they drove down from Idaho down to Houston, which is a damn drive. And then you don't allow the scientist to hold on to the scientist-y DNA stuff. You let some cop just do whatever with it. Yeah, that's weird. Was it just a Q-tip? See, that's too sketchy. Too sketchy. Reportedly, there were other DNA samples. Yeah, we know that as a fact. Yeah, handrail and the glove. Yeah, true story. Yeah, I just can't remember which document it was. This is going to be over in like 6 minutes. We've been on here for a minute. See, Joe Scott's voice literally just said, could Bryan Kohberger be innocent? Joe Scott, we need to talk, broski. I know he follows me on Twitter, but I don't know if he follows me on Twitter because he's a spy for Nancy Disgrace that blocked me because she knows that I talk shit about her all the time, or if he actually likes the fact that I talk shit about Nancy all the time. I can't figure out which one. Yeah, the death penalty stuff. And again, let's not forget, the state of Idaho used this Kohberger situation with the students as a way to get the firing squad to be like numero uno when it comes to the DP, just to then do all of this after they've spent like almost $1 million on the renovations, on top of all the money it took to get the votes for what they wanted to do on top of that. Just to then ixnay the case that they were trying to use for this. The same way that the university used their names in order to get the memorial done. It's just so sick. They're just talking about the firing squad. Oh, so they released this after what happened, and maybe it'll be something at the end, but Howard Bloomblum, whatever, just said everything is going to come out at trial. You'd think that they would have fixed it. I don't know, Howie Bloomblum, whatever. We didn't get there. So now they're showing them the bestie bench for Maddie. And then they also have Kaylee and Xana stuff there. And then they're showing some sort of label for Ethan at a different location. Okay. That's the infamous photo. That is so creepy the way this photo is. It is very wild. Like, how do we just have this photo? It has become the symbol of this case. Not a lie. They were happy and full of plans. It's so crazy how things change. They're not at peace. She just said, I hope that they're at peace. They're not at peace. None of them are at peace because their stories have not been told yet. Does anyone know when Ethan and Xana got home? How can you, as their parents, all of the parents of Xana and Ethan collectively, how can y'all be okay with not having these damn answers? It makes me sick. Family doesn't know. I know for a fact the family doesn't know. Unless something has changed that I don't know about since a couple of days ago. The family does not know. When the information come out about the TikTok being an hour off and the DoorDash not having anything to do with Xana, they didn't know. They didn't know. They're showing their memorial tattoos. Oh, that's cute. Maddie wrote this girl a note and signed it Maddie May with a heart on the top of the I for her name, and she took Maddie's own handwriting and put her name on her. That's freaking cute. She's so pretty. Maddie reminds me a lot of Kylie Rodney. Very fairyish. You know what I mean? Like light. I don't really know how else to explain it. Very light. I wish these girls understood how much they don't need these big ass fake ass eyelashes, because they're all extremely pretty. They don't need any of those damn eyelashes on their faces. They all have tattoos. Oh, she's got two. The angel wings. You can tell they're still really sad. Now it's going up to Coeur d'Alene, January 2025. A fad? I've had mine for like 25 years now. And my nose. And tattoos, and need 1,000 more. I don't know if it's fad. I just can't afford it, or else I'd have 1,000 more tattoos. I have 1,000 ideas. All important. Scenes from The Little Mermaid, scenes from Teen Titan for my son, stuff for my youngest son's Sonic obsession and Mario. Like I've got I want to put like a fishing rod and a reel with like a fish hanging right here, and then do scissors on one hand for my mom for doing hair. I have 1,000 ideas. I got one right here for my daughter. Actually, this right here that you guys see right here, it says "Don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened," with the HIV ribbon and the date that she was diagnosed, the year that my daughter was diagnosed 10 years ago. And that's a matching tattoo that we want to get right here. It's not a fad for everybody. Sometimes it's just how you tell your story. Look me in my eyes. I don't care. I don't care what most guys would want. Oh, so he's talking about the plea deal here. Steve Jr. and Olivia are back. My biggest concern would be with the prosecution accepting a plea deal. So this was before that. I don't think for the crimes that were committed that life in prison is even acceptable. I've already said that whoever is responsible for this deserves the DP, because this was disgusting. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, no mental illness excuses. I don't give a damn. Whoever is responsible, actually, factually, 1,000,000% factually responsible, doesn't deserve to breathe. They've got to prove it. And they didn't prove it. And now we're in a really weird spot. With no new evidence, no new facts, nothing to stand on. They couldn't even like slip in a fact that we hadn't heard before to make this all make sense while they had the chance to. And I don't honestly think that there's any reason for anything else to be said come sentencing. I think if anything was going to be said when it comes to evidence, facts, timeline, it would have maybe been done already. So I don't think that we're going to get any more answers to anything until after sentencing and after all the information releases, if they release it. Because we don't know what they're going to do. I just fingers crossed that they let us get the information, because something has to start putting the puzzle together. And right now there's so many pieces missing, you can't even see what the picture's supposed to be. It's really sad. Yeah, at the plea. Ooh. That's cool. Well, Richie got banned because he came in here yelling about it, and I don't deal with stupidity. It's too late at night for that. On July 2nd, 2025, Bryan Kohberger changed his plea to guilty on all counts for the murders of the 4 University of Idaho students. Yeah, we know. Okay, so that's the only thing that they did. Okay, upon hearing this bombshell development, some of the families released the following statements. We went over all of that stuff, but the Goncalveses are upset. It's just the Goncalveses statement about how they were upset about it, which I agree. We should have went to trial. Nothing wrong with wanting to go to trial and having the evidence actually like presented. There's nothing wrong with that. Even the guilters should want that. The people that believe that he is guilty should have been demanding the evidence and for this to go to trial. They shouldn't have just been here okay with it. If you want true justice, how is this true justice with no answers? The victims' stories have not been told. How is this a win? People are wild. Okay. And then we have Maddie's dad basically being okay with it, which I don't agree with. I don't agree with anybody who's okay with it because nothing got proven. Your child's story was not told. There's no answers to anything. Literally nothing. You've learned nothing. You have no answers. You don't know the last moments of your child's life because you've chosen to be okay with something that stops you from getting that information. Can't relate. Would never. I would never. Could never be me. Never. Never, ever, ever. Just insanity. Insanity. But it's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. This is a 90-minute episode, so I appreciate the between 8 and 1,000 of you that came in and out of this the entire time. That was wild. Not really anything new, honestly. I didn't really care about a lot of anything that came in here when it came to evidence-wise. They doubled down on the fact they can't put him at the location 1,000 more times. I mean, other than proving everything that we already knew wasn't correct. I mean, it was good to see, like, I guess the friends being able to talk and, like, more of that side of the stories being told, but the stories are not told. So, yeah, no shit. Insane, right? Guilters be like, pro-burgers don't support the victims, but then Bryan agrees to a plea and Steve loses his shit, and yet guilters are worried about bragging that they're right. Yeah, no shit. There's no one that's ever going to convince me that I'm on the wrong side of this. Me having an opinion that people don't like that can change because that's what an opinion does, doesn't take away my morals and my ethics when it comes to what's right and what's wrong. And what's wrong is that this was allowed to happen whenever 4 lives were lost. Another life could actually be on the line here, and no one's proven anything. And yeah, the death penalty is gone. People like Bryan don't last in places like that. Like, I understand that he's smart and whatnot, but if he has mobility issues, dexterity problems, are we supposed to believe he can defend himself? Being, again, small, weak, frail man with thin wrists. He can defend himself. He could do all this. This small, weak, frail man with thin wrists took out Ethan and 4 other people. I just don't see it. Yeah, I just want the truth. I just want the truth. It's not hard to understand wanting facts. And if somebody who wants to self-proclaim to be some sort of guilter is okay with not having facts, then please don't reproduce and never be on a jury because your brain is obviously working at like not even half, if you want to be for real. Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and go. But I'm really glad that you guys decided to spend your Saturday nights here with me instead of out there doing crazy stuff. Y'all already making smart choices. Okay, let me go ahead and run down all these color tags I have over here. Even though I already said thank you, I want to do it again. It's been a long time. It's been almost 4 hours. Thank you again for the $50, Tracy. I very much appreciate it. Thank you for the $2, Jules. Thank you for coming in as a member, Sherry. And don't forget, members, that we have a members only live every last Monday of the month. And it's usually open discussion. This last one was all about the plea deal because it was the last Monday of the month that the plea thing happened and all the news broke. So that one was totally Idaho based. but normally it's open discussion. We'll talk about whatever cases that you guys want to talk about. Thank you for the other $2, Jules. Thank you for being a member for 3 months, Michelle. Welcome to the memberships, Malika. Thank you again for the $9.99 Penguin. Thank you for the $10, Heron. Thank you for the $20, Alf. Thank you for the 10 again, Heron. 11 months. Thank you for being here for so long, Layla. And thank you for the $10 super sticker. Thank you for joining True Crime Unleashed. I appreciate you joining. Thank you for the 10 again, Heron. Thank you for the other 2, Jules. And thank you for the 10 again, Heron. And the other 10 again. Oh, I just missed these 2. Thank you for the $5 super sticker, Deborah. And thank you for the $2 one. You guys is awesomeness. 5 months, Gail. You're the best for being here. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank y'all for actually like caring about facts and not just suddenly having like amnesia. Like a bunch of people apparently have. Thanks for coming in, philosopher. Yes, please keep the people in Kerrville in y'all's thoughts. You know what's crazy? Most of y'all know how like non-religious I am, but that I'm not gonna like preach to you about what you should and shouldn't believe or whatever, unless you come in here being psychotic. You know, I've had to go off on a couple people that are like complete Bible thumpers and don't want to hear anything else that anybody else says. That's not what we do here. We listen to everything. We know everybody believes differently. You know, I went over to the Pascal show earlier today because he was covering my town. So was JLR. Ugh. Anyway, I said in the chat, my hometown, please keep everyone in your thoughts. And instantly some psychopath attacked me. You mean prayers? With a whole bunch of question marks and exclamation points. I said what I said. I said in your thoughts because that's very neutral. But no, this a-hole came in acting like an idiot. Won't go back over there anymore. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and play this stuff out. Thank you so much for watching this. Or not watching this, but listening to me watch this. Again, it's on Peacock. I'm pretty sure that they have some sort of free trial or something like that. And in like 5 days, I know, I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to go to sleep. My dad's probably still in there watching the news, so I'm about to just go in the living room. Don't forget, though, on the 11th, we're going to have to figure out the way that we want to do the Amazon one because there's 3 episodes. So I don't know how I want to do that. I don't want to do that all back to back because this definitely went a lot longer than I thought it would. I mean, I know I talk a lot, but 4 hours for a 90-minute show is probably excessive. We'll figure it out. We'll probably do like 1 episode at a time, like just 3 days in a row, 1 episode at a time. Probably. But yeah. You guys have a great night. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Let me play this little thingy-mabobber. Y'all be safe if y'all just decide to go out and be crazy because your time zones are different. But other than that, y'all need to go to bed. Y'all need to go to bed. All right, let me play this real fast. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. All right, you guys. See y'all.